Hey, folks, and welcome to a very special episode of the Daily Ratings Podcast. So today we're going to be talking about 2023, kind of the year in film, what we liked and what we didn't like. We're going to be taking a look at the new year and some of the movies that Vin and I are both excited for. We're also going to talk about just the daily ratings coming up in 2024. But most importantly, most of all, it is the Tom Daly Awards, the only award show that matters. So it's going to be a great time, folks. Make yourself a drink, sit down, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2023 Tom Daly Awards. Here are your hosts, Tom Recker and Vincent Daly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Oh, my God, you made it. Tom Cruise is in the audience.
Tom Cruise. Wow.
Welcome, everybody, to the thank you.
Wow.
Vin, hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
It's going okay for me, buddy. How was your year of movies?
Year of movies was pretty solid. I would say definitely in 2022 versus 2023.
Yeah.
2023 is coming out pretty strong. Strong year for film.
Yes, and I think that 2024 looks even better. I was just saying to you before, 2024, I think, looks better.
Really? Wow.
You disagree?
More so maybe coming out of ignorance. I mean, I have some awareness of what's
I've got a good
coming out.
list.
Okay.
And I think after we go through my list, you'll be excited for some stuff.
Build up the hype. What are you looking forward to?
Some things. We'll say that towards the end. 2024, we'll say it to the end. I have 5 different sections of paper.
Whoa!
Some behind. Okay.
Oh my! I just see now. He's it looks like the Unabomber or something like that. he's got all these plans out.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Tom Daly, the wrap-up show of 2023.
Yes.
Vin and I are very excited. We usually never drink. We're bad enough on mic already, but we're drinking.
Folks,
we hope that you are too.
Tom makes some wonderful cocktails. If we ever do a meet and greet, he's full bartender.
Oh, good. I'm working. I'm working while I'm working. Anyway, this is just like last year. This is, like I said, our wrap-up year a little bit. Hopefully, we're a little bit more polished and ready to go from last year. But that was a great episode.
I think it was a great episode.
Yeah, I mean, things came together live.
Yeah.
One of the funny things was I was thinking about the name Tom Daly's.
Okay.
And I think this is how we do. We don't really have many meetings. It's more so, I think we came up with it on one of the shows.
Yes,
it was called the Tom Daly's.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Works for me.
As I told you right before you came over, Andrea said, "Have a good time. You looking forward to the Vinnies?" So I laughed. I was like, "The Vinnies isn't bad either."
It's not too bad.
Okay, so how we're going to structure this is let's talk 2023 a little bit, the year in film.
Yes.
Then we'll get into the big main event, the
Sure.
award show, and then we'll wrap up, talk about 2024 films because I actually think there's some stuff I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah.
And to get ready and prep for this year. So I started out, I have this whole page of questions for you to kind of lead us in, just talk about 2023 a little bit.
Sure.
And my biggest thing was, and I made multiple choice for this because
Good,
I'm giving
glad.
to you stuff. Yeah, so you're not thinking too much on the fly.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is, in the future, when we look back at this year, people will say 2023 was the year of what?
Franchises.
Okay.
For sure. I didn't wait for the multiple choice. Already broken.
So I have the year of biopics.
Okay.
Because Oppenheimer, Napoleon, Enzo Ferrari, Leonard Bernstein,
Yeah.
Maestro. I also have the making of film.
Okay.
Because we had some that were dropped a little bit, but we had Air for Air Jordans. We had BlackBerry.
Yep.
We had Tetris.
Sure.
You could even say the hydrogen bomb. You could say Ferrari a little bit. It definitely was a company movie a little bit.
Yep.
Was it also, could you also say it was the year of like big old director dudes?
Coming back.
Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, David Fincher, Michael Mann, Hayao Miyazaki, Ridley Scott.
Sure.
These old stalwarts, these old dudes that have been in the business a little bit. Christopher Nolan still has decades to go yet.
Sure.
But that, was it just, are people going to look back at 2023 and say it's the year of Barbenheimer?
I think that's probably the real answer. Money talks, and it's Barbenheimer. I mean, that was a cultural event around film.
I mean, franchises was good too. I wonder if you look back at all the years, can you almost say that every year is a franchise because we have so many franchise movies?
True, and in years past, I would never pay attention in the way that I did pay attention and structure, episodes.
We were franchise heavy.
Yeah, exactly. So
in a good way.
Yeah. If there was anything to leave behind, hopefully going into 2024 is less franchises, more unique IP. But also, I think that's probably going to be the case in every year. You
just could make it yeah. Now, because here we have Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, Indiana Jones is something of importance.
Sure.
I would say if we
had a fun episode too.
Yes, it was. In fact, we just rewatched Raiders.
Oh, okay, nice.
I've been going back this year on my own. I watched some films that we didn't cover,
okay,
but I tried to also cover maybe some classics. And even though I didn't watch them for the episode stuff, I tried to get back and just refresh myself a little bit, get in tuned a little bit. So the more I thought about this question too, when people look back at this, even if it's like 10 years from now, it's like 2023, finally out of COVID kind of deal. But also, will we say that that was the death of original animated stories? I have a couple reasons for that.
Okay.
One, because every original thing basically fell flat on its face from Disney, Pixar.
Yeah, right.
I know Super Mario Bros. Was the second biggest movie in the entire world.
Right.
But that's not original.
Sure.
And then you really only have The Boy and the Heron with Hayao Miyazaki.
Sure.
Which is like a beautiful story ending, possibly his last film, that kind of thing. And I feel like maybe because I think that 2024, when people look back at 2024, might say it was the year of animated rehashing. Okay, because we have Mufasa coming up.
No way. There's a Mufasa. Oh,
Mufasa coming up, and then you have Kung Fu Panda 4.
Sure.
Inside Out 2. Despicable Me 4.
Yep.
Incredibles 3. Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yep.
Every major animated.
Incredibles 3, really?
Yeah.
And that's Pixar proper.
Yeah.
I wonder if Brad Bird is directing that. Interesting. Okay.
So that's the thing, and people aren't talking about the animated stuff this year too much because everything flopped.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I was looking at the films for next year and realized everything was rehashing old stuff, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's only going to get worse if there's a lesson to learn from Super Mario Brothers. I mean, I don't feel like we are. Zelda movie was announced as far as other Nintendo properties. So,
yes, I think that might be 2025.
Yeah, and I think still being done by Illumination as far as an animation studio. I feel like, if anything, the lesson we learned in animation as a space is that the power shift is moving. I don't think Disney and Pixar are as bulletproof as they were in the 2000s and the 90s.
I mean, it was recently that Pixar's film was not the winner at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Right? I forget which year. I don't think it was it last year, the year before that?
Yeah.
I think it was when Spideyverse won, maybe?
Possibly. I think more so than anything, I mean, Pixar is always just, the meme is it's a shoo-in. If it's in the Oscars, it's going to win the animated.
And that is just not a thing anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
And Disney typically, with their own, it's so weird because you have Pixar proper and then you have Disney proper, the way they separate. It's
absolutely.
A little,
Yeah.
But we have so many players now. We will be talking about an animation that is original that I'm excited for in 2024. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But it's a Netflix release.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I think out of the multiple choice of it, I would say probably a franchise comes in line with the, I think it was choice B. Going through some of the...
I have two A's here, unfortunately. I have A, B, C, and D. So this is going...
Some messy notes. It's staged. It's in stages.
Okay, so you're going with your own that you made up? Is that what you're saying? The E.
E, yes, franchises.
But franchise, and you're thinking Barbenheimer.
I think so. Yeah, Barbenheimer. I mean, it's gonna be remembered, and most importantly, try to be replicated by marketing of films. I feel like film houses will be in a collaborative mood because of Barbenheimer.
So this is actually my next question.
Okay.
So did Barbenheimer actually save the movies, as everybody says?
Right.
Or if they didn't exist, would other movies just step in? So for instance, I almost had a category for the special kind of awards.
Okay.
That's why one of the categories was almost the most screwed movie of the year.
I love that.
One of them being Mission Impossible.
Sure, yeah.
Mission only got 1 week
Yep.
in IMAX. 1 week in IMAX before Oppenheimer stepped in and Barbie.
Yep.
And then you also had movies that were around there was Spider-Man Across the Universe and even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like everybody putting all this stuff in Barbenheimer, I don't know. I think Mission would have made a ton more money. Maybe as far as box office would have been a little bit less for the year, but Mission would have done much better. I think Spider-Man would have done
or at
better.
least even if it fell, even if it flopped in some way, I feel like the salt in the wound would be less.
Right.
We would be talking about Mission Impossible in a retrospective to say, "Oh, I'm excited for Part 2." Where I feel like Part 2 is going to need some serious marketing to be on people's radar because it got eaten up. So
much,
severely.
and that's what and with the Barbenheimer, so much didn't have to do for the weeks leading up. Had nothing to do with the films,
Sure.
but had so much to do with just marketing and people jumping on it because news jumping on it because it was a hot topic issue that they kind of created. It was
I don't know if it's created. I feel like it two to tango with anything.
Right.
I feel like there was a semi-cultural event a la Rocky Horror Picture Show. That there was you dress up and you go to see Barbie, and maybe you do tackle both Barbie and Oppenheimer back to back.
And it is they played well together because they were such opposite genres as well.
Right.
Which does help, but I couldn't help some of it was so much was manufactured. I mean, the good phones on their own right. I mean, gave 80 and an 84 to those films.
Right,
It's not like
great films.
It's not like they shouldn't have been seen. But you know what I mean? Just the overwhelming praise of these movies saved the box office. I just wasn't buying it as much as what you could say that with 2022 when you could really just basically say it was Maverick and then at the end of the year Avatar.
Yeah, very true.
But it's
very
funny,
true.
Avatar made so much money, but it was so assumed and baked into the
Right, that it
cake
would make
that
so much
everybody
money.
said that Maverick was the thing that saved box office.
Yeah. Right.
But just something that I don't know because Mission got hit so bad by that film.
It really, the casualty here is Mission Impossible,
Right.
Especially in its gearing up for a two-parter finale of prospectively Tom Cruise's involvement with the project.
And here's another question I had because with this whole idea of like films that got screwed, Mission definitely, but I think Killers of the Flower Moon. I think if you didn't have a Barbie or an Oppenheimer, Killers could take the big summer blockbuster a little bit.
Sure.
The reason being, it came out right around Halloween.
Very awkward release, among all the schlock horror that was being released as well.
It just didn't fit. And then you had November coming in, which wasn't much. I mean, you know what I mean? We had a lot of specials around that time. I just think that was a bad release time for that film.
Sure.
Personally, and I think it got hurt. I mean, the 3:30 didn't help either. 3 hours and 30 minutes for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that this was a year where a lot of people could have an array of films that would be their number one?
Yes, absolutely.
Some people are going to say Barbie. Some people are going to say Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Absolutely.
Ferrari, maybe. I don't even... Maestro, if you're a Bradley Cooper fan.
Sure, absolutely. I feel like there's a lot that could be everyone's personal favorite. I feel like even some of the franchise picks could be people's personal favorites. Not so much Indiana Jones, Mission Impossible, but...
Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Across the Spider-Verse could definitely be someone's favorite superhero movie, period. Even with the cliffhanger part 2 kind of aspect to it.
Yeah. Okay. I was kind of thinking the same thing. Because I was just talking to more people this year too, as, people get more interested in the podcast and everything. Everyone really is different and has their taste.
You're right.
And it's kind of a joy to, and also listen to other people's content, other podcasts, where I like our place here because, one, I think you hit it on the head pretty good. Like if I go through Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb or even Ebert with the stars, I'm always agreeing with you way more.
Okay.
And even if, you give me 100 of your films,
sure,
I'm going to totally disagree. And I mean like 15% plus or like 20% plus
yeah,
disagree.
That's the variance.
In a much smaller amount. Out of give me 100, and it's just a handful of yours.
Sure.
Where I go on any other platform. And it's just like out of control. It's so untrustworthy. So I do like the
okay.
consistency of us a little bit, but it's really been honing down of just, man, everybody has their own opinion.
Sure.
And I think we're pretty consistent in what we do, so we're a good bellwether. Whether you like your reviews or not, you're something to go off of.
And it's always been my
approaching a film.
opinion as well with following any reviewer personally or for folks at home listening to my opinions. It's about kind of using my opinions to gauge your own reactions.
Yeah,
to
it's how it should be done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
But too many people just go to Rotten Tomatoes and that's it. Even though everyone knows Rotten Tomatoes sucks, everyone will still use it.
absolutely, because
then-
it's convenient.
Right. And then NBC buys a large enough share. Well, Comcast buys a large enough share, like 10% or even way more, 30, 40% potentially of Rotten Tomatoes. So then on Peacock, because it's
listed
NBC
right
owned,
there.
they can
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead
yeah.
and get the Rotten Tomatoes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And you also can't be... How you going to be honest if you're getting paid by the other guys? And then thoughts on your 2023 digital or streaming releases?
I feel like streaming, the highlights in streaming have been like something like Killers of the Flower Moon, where Apple is involved, but not necessarily trying to get people as the main offering to their platform.
Right.
I feel like
The money for the project, but no one's going to Apple for Killers.
exactly
Because it was still a theater release.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I feel like, if anything, what I would like to see kind of brought over from 2023 to 2024 is companies and streaming companies specifically producing movies, but not getting their hands in the pot too much. And if anything, leaning on these auteurs, leaning on these classic talents that we talked about just a second ago, and taking them and just saying, hey, you do great work. We're just going to give you money and kind of step back. Obviously, there was much more involvement with Apple for Killers as an example there.
I can piggyback off that, and what you're saying exactly
Sure.
is what happened with David Fincher and The Killer.
Oh, okay.
Which we did not love.
Right.
Because Netflix is very hands-off,
Yeah.
which sounds great. And maybe if a studio doesn't want The Killer, he can go to, David Fincher could go to Netflix, and they'll say, okay, here's your money.
Right.
And then go do whatever you want. We're not going to bother you.
Sure.
I like that, but I don't like The Killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the actual whatever the artistic creation is, that's still worthy of kind of critical analysis to say if it's good or bad. The coin flip of if it's good or bad. But at the same time, I just feel like the tone and at least from the public, how we've seen streaming platforms interact with these projects, I think that's a good trend moving over to the new year.
Okay. Then my last question is just what ideas or practices did we like for 2023 and hope the industry keeps for 2024? What are the ideas or practices they did that we hope they drop for 2024?
Oh, what they drop? Like I said, it could be just the fact that I had covered so many franchises and kind of tackled this year in a much more cover everything. Don't try to not let anything slip by. But I think franchises. I feel like less franchises, but that is me. Barking up the wrong tree. I feel like the lesson this year had with franchises that is going to create steam for more franchise movies. Again, the pinpoint example is probably a tie between Super Mario Brothers and Barbie.
Yes. Maybe John Wick 4 for like the action fans and the hardcore fans of that.
Sure. Which I would want nothing less than a John Wick 5.
Right.
I'm fine
Which
with
we're
Ballerina. I'm fine with, spin-offs. I don't want John Wick 5.
Oh, we're getting it.
Much like I don't want Heat 2. Yeah. Just stop. Please stop.
And what practices did we kind of see in 2023 you hope sticks, that you hope continue that? Like, good lesson here. Keep it for 2024.
I think that's where it comes into this streaming involvement, platform involvement that we just talked about.
Okay. One thing I will say is and I'm sure this is how it's been for the past few years, maybe for the past 10 years, I can't stand the amount of award chatter there are on these smaller independent films.
Okay.
And everything gets released in the last 20 days of the year.
Yeah. You definitely had a bone to pick with some
Super
international
annoying.
stuff and more of the indie sphere of it.
And even some of the theatrical releases.
Sure.
It's annoying that there's no reason why we have to forget about the first 3 months of the year. I don't know why we need to it's always a late November and late December push with the big Oscar film. You know what I mean? The award kind of films.
Yep.
And I understand the purpose of it, but at the same time, there's no reason why we can't expand kind of our window of release.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why can't January be a month where people want to go to the movies?
Sure.
Same thing with February.
Because I don't want to go to the movies.
Right, and not only that, it's when it is Thanksgiving, maybe it's not actually the most convenient thing to go to the movies that weekend or that week. Same thing with the holidays around Christmas or whatever, especially New Year. It's just, maybe that's not on people's mind all that much.
Yeah.
When we have nothing to do in January, February,
Right.
and early March, give us something to do. Let us go to the movies.
Yeah.
Instead, we throw out like schlock, especially this past year, with all just the horror stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So the release window and schedule, I hope, can get reshuffled for 2024.
Sure.
Because it's just frustrating.
To be fair, I mean, I think this year was accentuated by the writer's strike and the actor's strike, just kind of pushing everything. I mean, I think a perfect example is American Fiction, a movie a lot of people, I think, wanted to see. There was buzz around it. It came in a wide release on December 15th, was knocked out of theaters by December 24th. 9 days.
Because you had Poor Things and Ferrari.
Exactly.
Yeah.
9 days. I don't think that's a fair shake to any movie, regardless of quality. And it looks to be of quality, too.
Right.
So.
And Boy the Heron was supposed to be in the summer.
Sure.
That got pushed back like 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so that's pretty much 2023. That's my questions for 2023, Vin. So we're going to go into the Tom Daly Awards here.
There it is.
Let's start off with...
Yeah, where are we starting?
Oh, I was actually going to start off with the questions with these, but okay, we'll do it now.
Oh, okay.
Just to recap a little bit of what you covered this year.
Okay.
You covered 28 horror films for 2023. You covered, and I think that's just 2023.
Yeah.
I believe. Or maybe total. No, it's total.
Yeah.
I think of the podcast. You covered 23 animated films on the podcast.
Wow.
Okay. I covered 21. Or I watched 21 new films,
Sure.
2023 films.
Okay.
And I said 23 if you count being asleep. Some of those I watched after the podcast, though. But still, I wanted to refresh myself.
You came back to
it. And maybe one personal curiosity, like I say often, I'm going to watch this when I watch this.
Yeah,
I end up watching, especially for this episode. So I watched around 21, and then I also watched a bunch of the old stuff, too.
Not always a Tommy Two Shoes. Though.
Right.
That's
correct. And then I watched a lot more than that as far as like older films we also covered. But 2023 releases, I watched about 21. New films, Vin, you watched 89 2023 releases this year.
What was 2022?
Less than that. It was about 75, 76, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you covered 89 films. Older films you covered on the podcast was 157. For a total of, you watched 246 films.
Wow.
I just want to remind people when we ask, become a producer and to donate, 246 films is 246 separate note-taking sessions also. I can see Vin's notes from across the table. Multiple paragraphs per film.
Yeah.
Times that by 246.
Sure.
It is hours and hours, if not days, when you add it up, just doing film reviews.
Yeah.
So he can be solid on the podcast here. 246 films, Vin. So be proud of that. That's something to be proud of.
I am proud. I think we did a great job this year.
Covered a lot.
Both of us, as far as making sure that we did our homework on some things. I go back to the Fast and Furious 2-parter episode, and as ridiculous as it was, and has the real fear of it breaking my taste in movies, the real panic and anxiety that these movies broke my brain. At a certain point, I feel like the franchise homework, I feel like the ones that we did tackle were absolutely worth it. I think back to Jurassic Park.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is that in the calendar year?
I think so.
I think
Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it was 2022.
Still thinking back to Jurassic Park, Mission Impossible, things like that.
Yeah, like you said, the Indy was fun. Oh, and not to mention that Fast X, Fast 10, it was the best episode, the best performing episode in the podcast history still.
Go figure.
So I'm glad we did it too.
Sure, yeah.
And I didn't watch any of them. All right, folks. So let's go ahead and get into the Tom Daly Awards. All right. All right. Yes, everyone's very excited. After some chatter.
Did you folks enjoy the chatter? Because there's a lot of it.
Okay, all right, Vince. So we're going to go through our main awards here. All the
Okay.
categories people are interested in, the main stuff that we would know.
Yep.
After that, we'll go into our specialty awards.
Oh, yes.
Still Tom Daly's, but with another title in front of them, and I'm going to those are surprises for you.
The surprise Tom Daly's.
That's correct.
Which are my favorite awards, honestly.
What do you want to start with here, Vince?
That's a tough question.
I have animated or horror.
Let's do horror.
What did you have first?
Okay.
Because you clearly had to scroll down a decent.
No, I have them sectioned off in different ways. So, honestly, whatever you want to start with.
All right, we're going to start with best horror film. How
Okay.
about that?
All right. Big
There's-
year for horror.
Yeah. How we're going to structure this, too, a little bit is I'm going to kind of step inside to the corners of your brain that maybe you forgot about.
Okay.
But
I like that.
But also basically just kind of think what I might be for this.
Okay.
You can go ahead and give you can go ahead and give the honorable mentions, otherwise known as the nominees.
Sure.
And then go ahead and give
Kind of
the
a
actual winner.
retrospective.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We don't have to do a top 10, zoom in on the actors, even though they're in the room. We don't
You
have to do
said that last year, too. Don't zoom in on the actors. Is that a pet peeve in the cinematography of these?
All right, best horror film. Only 3 really came to mind.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things where, because we are percentage based with the daily rating, we kind of know the winner.
Absolutely.
But things that definitely came to mind were Infinity Pool in the beginning of the year.
Yes, that was an early one.
It was so weird, but
So
very
weird.
cool, well acted. You only gave it a 70%, but thought we could mention it at least.
Yeah.
And then another one is Talk to Me, which had a
yes.
74%. Small cast, small crew, cheap budget, but you loved it.
Absolutely.
A 74% might not be everyone's got to see this film, but for what this film was, it performed so well.
Exactly. I hope with Talk to Me, it wasn't overhyped in ways, because people that I've talked to after recommending it to them, they said, yeah, it was all right, but I feel like it was so solid in a year where there was so much schlock.
Right.
It was like just garbage. I feel like it was a really quality horror movie.
Okay. Any mentions and who was the winner?
You hit the nail on the head as far as the mentions. Talk to Me in Infinity Pool. My comments on Infinity Pool.
Oh, those you too?
Yeah, absolutely. My comments on Infinity Pool are just that I feel like I've come to appreciate a little bit of the surrealism to the film a little bit more after it.
Okay.
And some of what it's trying to poke fun at for not vacation culture, but what these type of resort locations actually operate as. And I feel like going back to the review and also watching the movie,
Yeah.
I was hyper focused on the technology of things, and I still have my issues with that.
Yeah.
And I still think people will get caught and snagged on that, but I have a lot more appreciation for that film now because I feel like it's very bold and absolutely insane, as all Cronenberg properties are, whether it's the father or the son doing it. So, but absolutely the winner for best horror, folks. The writing was on the wall. I was electric on this film, and arguably was something that I was not expecting to be good because of my history with the franchise. The winner for Best Horror 2023, the Tom Daly goes to Evil Dead Rise, an absolutely fantastic horror movie.
You loved that movie. You gave it a 79%.
Yeah.
Surprised you.
Yes.
Evil Dead was a franchise that you did not love.
Yeah.
We're maybe hoping that you would like it more.
Yeah.
And then Evil Dead Rise coming, that no one was asking for a reboot or a revival. This didn't touch with a lot of the old baggage of
Yep.
those films. Started kind of fresh. Again, not that anyone was asking for it.
Sure.
You walked into this and came out loving this
Yes,
film.
I really did. Performance-wise, it was so creepy. It was such a right mix of what I feel, even as an appreciator of the Evil Dead franchise.
Right.
Even though they may not be my bag, I can appreciate the filmmaking and Sam Raimi's creative style in all of these older films. I feel like this captured it in a way that was just the right mix of what Evil Dead is about when it comes to comedy, what it's about when it comes to body horror and mutilation, and it was everything I wanted. And I honestly, all year I've been recommending that movie, so it has to get the Tom Daly.
All right, so for the best horror film of 2023 is Evil Dead Rise, directed by Lee Cronin, and it's got a daily rating of 79%.
Great movie.
And also, just don't forget, folks, that these main awards are only 2023 specific.
Yes,
This is
yes.
proper 2023 films. Again, we watched about 90 of them this year. Let's move on to Best Animated Film, Vin. And animated films did okay this year.
Right. I feel like there's a swing when it comes to like Super Mario probably holding the the whole industry up.
As far as box office, yeah, box office, it goes to them.
Yeah,
we like Super Mario. I don't think I watched it for the podcast. I can't remember.
Okay,
I watched it after in theaters, I believe, and in IMAX. But it was a fine performing film, but it was a little generic and nothing unbelievably special.
Sure,
I think overall it was just a very good. It touched multiple generations, and it was just friendly enough where it was a good movie at the time for everyone to go see.
Yeah.
And it was like lightning in a bottle.
Exactly. And that lightning in the bottle, I mean, the fact that it can touch on every generation, I feel like that was the secret ingredient to why it was so successful and why people loved it so much, because honestly, I don't think there's many audiences that wouldn't be targeted by that movie in some way.
Other mentions, I did have Puss in Boots is a 2022 release, but we watched. It was like...
Did we watch it in 2023?
We did. We watched it in 2023. Just wanted to give a quick mention because we did like that movie. But otherwise, it was a good year for your non-classic animated films. So we had Suzume at an 80%.
Yep.
And which is very good performing, like I said, an anime, big director. And then we had Across the Spider-Verse, which has become kind of a big American franchise now.
Yeah,
but not
absolutely.
coming from like a studio. It's not like, well, check out the latest Pixar film.
Sure.
Check out the latest
it's Sony
Illumination
Animation,
or something.
which is pretty broad,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But Across the Spider-Verse at 79, Suzume at 80. Any other notes or who's the winner?
No, once again, hit on my mentions perfectly.
We didn't talk before, folks.
Yeah, we did not. When it comes to Spider-Verse, I feel like the big cliffhanger, let's just see what part 2 does. I didn't love a trend of cliffhangers throughout the year. Obviously, there's no coordination there among project to project, but there were a lot of cliffhangers. But Spider-Verse is just such a visual feast. I mean, a feast. The amount of changing artistic styles within the film and how that plays as well into the story, arguably telling one of the best multi-dimensional type of comic book stories that we've seen kind of be coming in more and more in style. I mean, it's really just great. Very, very strong honorable mention. Suzume as well. I feel like I was taking a risk with that episode, doing such a strong anime-heavy episode.
Once again, people liked it.
Yeah. But I feel like Suzume was, for me, it hit like Howl's Moving Castle, where the magic and the fantasy was light enough, but that brevity, that lightness didn't take away from stakes from the film. And I feel like that's where it hit kind of that nice magic piece. Also, very much a Japanese appreciation type of movie, as a lot of his movies are. So, but absolutely the winner of the Tom Daly Best Animated. Gotta go. I called it right on the episode. We put it in the recap episode for the year. It is Blue Giant.
Yeah, Blue Giant, folks.
Yeah, one of the best movies for jazz appreciators, period. No less anime appreciators, which jazz kind of lives in a dynamic style among anime, especially coming out recently with what we've seen in mainstream anime, with like beautiful opening sequences and just like again visual feasts that are paired with the music. Blue Giant hits it all. An inspiring movie, visual feast on its own.
It came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
No one. Can I just say no one? And all the research I've been doing, trying to listen to other people, see what's up for the end of the year because there's so much going on. Blue Giant has never been uttered. Those two words together have been uttered together at all.
Yeah. I would say the only thing missing from honorable mentions or winners is, of course, Boy and the Heron, Miyazaki.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. In full honesty, though, in comparison to these three, it falls short. I feel like I choose all three of these over Boy and the Heron. Not throwing shade to Miyazaki. Love him to death.
Huge respect.
Yeah, huge respect for the man. But Blue Giant was exciting. I think going back into the review, I think I said it, palatable for
Yeah.
many audiences.
Yes, yep.
And I feel that is important for gateway drugs when it comes to anime because many people are against animation, period. They say, oh, wait, I'm not going to go see that. And then anime is an extra step in that direction.
Yeah.
I feel like Blue Giant hits such a magic note, and I finally, in the course of the podcast, have something that I can recommend wholesale. So
Such a small cast, a small project.
Yeah.
I don't even think Wikipedia has a page for Blue Giant. So I love that you loved it. Love that we covered it and got it on there. 82.
also worth like the hour drive.
Oh,
to
that's
get
right.
there. Yeah,
That's right. 82% for Blue Giant wins Best Animated Film.
Well
that will
deserved.
be the only award that gets, I think, in the coming months. That's what.
Yeah, right.
Which is unfortunate, actually. But 82 for Blue Giant. Huge score.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's Best Animated Film. I have VFX next.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
And what did you have naturally?
I had it kind of sectioned off in genre versus production versus the heavy hitters.
Okay.
How about we do best action?
Oh, yes. That is an award I forgot to write down and have. Okay. Okay, so best
on the Google Sheets.
best action for 2023, Vin. I mean, top of mind, the thing that comes to mind is John Wick 4.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's much else than that.
I actually had a few different mentions here. I would say Creed 3.
Yeah. People forgot about that one, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Creed 3 came
I
out.
forgot about a few reasons. Yeah. Creed 3, I really go back to the main title fight between our two main characters, and such a cool and inventive way to present the action within the ring, which is something that is so washed out and so done to death. I would say as well, another mention is Godzilla -1. Not your traditional action movie, certainly not your traditional Godzilla film, but it's emotion driving the action forward, and in a way that I think no Godzilla has accomplished, actually makes us care about the human element, which has always been a critique of mine with these films. That get the humans out. It's about the kaiju, it's about the monsters. -1 makes you care. I would say last honorable mention, probably a leftover from what we thought was going to be maybe like a best superhero category. I'm going to give it to Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I feel like action-wise, Guardians 3 takes it up quite a notch, whether it's the interaction with other superheroes or mainly what I'm thinking of is this one-take action shot with the whole team towards the end of the film. Really inventive styling and such a good feather in the cap of James Gunn. Moving on to greener pastures or more darker, washed out DC pastures. Well, but you hit it on the head, Tom. Winner obviously goes to John Wick 4. The best action film of the year. I mean, it is such an enjoyable movie. Coming back to it, I watched it 2 separate times. One skipping forward to just the action scenes I wanted to see. I wanted to see the club scene. I wanted to see some of why can't I remember his name?
Donnie Yen?
Hey, Donnie Yen, yes.
Yeah.
Just watching some of those scenes again. After that, finding those action scenes maybe good, but I was like, I don't know why I don't feel the same way about this action. I watched it all the way through, and I felt that once again. So I feel like that earns it because it's not just about the action scenes or a couple standout scenes. It really is about the full ride with John Wick 4.
That's excellent. That's great that you went back and did that.
Yeah.
Because my big critique was I feel like 20 minutes could have been shaved off and shave off some of those slower moments.
Sure.
But that's good watching it back and kind of going over. I have not gone back and watched it.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
want to because I like the film.
Yeah.
Excellent. John Wick 4 with a 79%, I believe?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
79%. John Wick for Best Action of 2023.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to VFX.
Yes.
no?
No, that's good. Yeah, because the other ones I have That's cool.
So VFX really trips me up, and I even think I asked you last week or something like that, where I was like, "Did you want to separate VFX and practical effects?"
Right.
Because we always hate CGI whenever it's included, so do we only do practical effects? I was a little bit confused by this. I only have 2 basic mentions then, actually, and you can just run with this genre or this category with how you want.
Okay.
But I assume that maybe Barbie had to be mentioned.
Yes.
Okay.
Bingo. Yep.
Not only because of set design,
Yep.
but because also just visuals and everything that happened in that film that was so
Yeah.
poppy, so fun.
Absolutely. And you could easily take a jab at Barbie and say, oh, it looks cheap. Well, that's also the function of what it's going after. It's trying to be these plastic dollhouses. So
I had that, and then I just had the creator because it's such a small. Not only you, but and other people were saying it too. But you really hit home on this. A low-budget film for the visual effects that was being produced.
Oh, absolutely.
You were blown away with how much of this kind of smaller produced film was able to punch so hard.
Yeah.
So I figured that had to be mentioned, the creator. I have no idea what you have or how you kind of wanted to approach this.
Yeah, no, Barbie creator, my notes with the creator really, it just comes down to the fact that does Gareth Edwards?
I think Edwards.
Does him working intelligently, smartly with his budget and with his visual effects team, does that make a better movie? I don't know. Sitting on the creator more, I feel like it gets lost more and more in the shuffle because of how generic some story elements are. And again, going back to Denzel's son's performance being kind of a little lackluster. But
known as Denzel's son.
I'm sorry, John David Washington. But when it comes to that, I do think there's an appreciation, even if you're not looking at the production elements and saying, wow, what he accomplished. You're just watching the movie, which we encourage on the show.
Yeah.
There is still such a amazing design to the robots, the mechs, the guns. I mean, this does have a District 9 level of fidelity to it. Is on my list to buy as an art book because I love that type of stuff. I love kind of cutting edge mech stuff. So one other thing, just in the blend of VFX being practical and digital or CGI, practical wise, I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Poor Things. I feel like the sets of Poor Things, again, it felt like Dr. Seuss without being Dr. Seuss. It felt like a Picasso painting at certain points. I feel like as Bella Baxter, Emma Stone's character, travels to different areas, each are just I don't know. They're impressionistic. They bleed the mood of that city without being the city directly.
Right, sure.
So I definitely want to give some props there. I would say, without a doubt, though, and I'm going to break the rule a tiny bit for VFX here, but we're already in kind of a gray area with VFX. There was only one that I really would describe as just a feast for the eyes, and it is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Oh my God.
Spider-Man, I mean, it comes down to that first fight scene. The fact that you were introduced in the movie and it looks visually different from what we're used to. That can be a bit jarring. Once it sets in, though, that we're in Gwen Stacy's or Spider-Gwen's universe, and it's this kind of like watercolor, bled together music dimension, as soon as that is broken by the introduction of, I kid you not, a Da Vinci sketch vulture.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we get this cyberpunk Spider-Man 2077 or whatever it is. I forget what the Spider-Man is called. Cyberpunk Spider-Man. All that mixed together. I mean, the film is doing that constantly.
The big thing was, it was such... How do you top one?
Yeah.
One was such a feast for the eyes, and so it came out of nowhere. Like people were just loved that film so much. How do you keep it going now?
Yeah.
You don't want to settle down on it, and you love the way they kind of reinvented themselves a little bit, or at least visuals weren't rinse and repeat.
Right.
They came back with more.
Where where Spider-Verse 1 was about other styles coming into Miles Morales' singular kind of comic book, almost losing frames in the animation style. Across the Spider-Verse was taking many realms of styles and mashing them together. And the fact that could have just ended so poorly and been such a visual mess.
Right.
And no less, it is so enjoyable to watch. I got to say that, the winner for Best VFX absolutely goes to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Well-deserved.
Well-deserved. Spider-Man Across, and again, 79% you gave that this year. That's the daily rating on it. Okay, let's move on to screenplay.
Sure.
Or what do you got next?
Yeah. Listen, I'm going wherever you want to go here.
By the way, okay, so I have VFX, screenplay, music, editing, cinematography.
Okay. Yeah,
Just
that
to
works.
Let you know.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
All right. So best screenplay. Now we're getting to some heavy hitter stuff as well. Best screenplay. I have basically 4 maybe mentions I was thinking about should be mentioned. You might have more as well. And this was fun to think about because I don't know where you're going to go with this.
Sure.
I don't know what's going to win.
Yeah. These were definitely tough, and I think that was also my temperature on this being such a good year in comparison to 2022, where
Right.
2022, listening back to some of those awards, it's just like, I can definitely tell I'm picking from like one choice only, where there are legitimately like honorable mentions here.
Yeah, there totally are. And again, I didn't watch all of these. It's just being with you, being the guy in the room listening to these.
Sure.
I mean, I listen to every show probably 3 times.
Oh, right.
Just
With the editing
live
process.
editing. I try
Absolutely.
to just try to do quality control type stuff.
Yep.
So that's why I'm saying just maybe get in there something that maybe you haven't thought about or what I know going off of you, what I would assume goes in here. One that I don't know if you have or not, but I wanted to give it a mention for screenplay.
Okay.
I did see this with you. We saw it in theaters. This was Asteroid City by Wes Anderson.
Ooh, yeah.
Wes Anderson in true Wes Anderson style. This is his script through and through.
Yeah.
You can just tell by the writing. It's weird. You can even get lost a little bit.
Definitely
it's
get lost,
funny,
yeah.
funky, and all. We weren't crazy hot on that. I think it got in the low 70s potentially.
I think so.
I gave it 2 shoes, nothing else.
Yep.
And but it's still Wes Anderson. It might not be to the heights of a Budapest, but the dialogue here, the screenplay was quite good
and ambitious as well. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Getting lost in that film, very possible. Yeah, very possible. Just with how it kind of exists on a story level and then kind of a meta level.
Yeah.
Of the production of the story itself, but worthy of note because that's very ambitious and probably the first time we've seen Wes Anderson at least make an attempt to maybe break from his usual trappings.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? It's finally in a little bit of a new direction.
Also, Roman Coppola also was
The writer.
co-writer on that.
Okay.
Yeah, co-writing.
In addition to Wes
and
Anderson.
as well.
Okay.
I'll name the other 3 I have, but
Okay.
I'll just mention them. You take
Yeah.
it however you want.
Yeah.
They might be a winner, they might not. I do have Poor Things on here.
Okay.
Screenplay by Tony McNamara.
Yep. And then the book is Alexander Gray, I guess.
Okay, gotcha. So you had it as a mention as well,
Yes,
sounds
yeah,
like.
absolutely.
But I can only imagine with how weird it was, how crazy it was, how you have to deal with Emma Stone being a little girl trying to figure out adulthood, being in an adult body.
Right.
It was wild film.
It really was.
It certainly came across like that.
Yep.
So that's why I have that mentioned here. Killers of the Flower Moon as well, and Oppenheimer.
Okay, interesting. I don't have Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wow, okay.
Not throwing shade or anything.
no,
Obviously,
that's fine.
excellent. You know what I mean? I feel like Why Poor Things stood out for me a little bit more, even with it being an adapted from a book. I don't know. I don't know this Alexander Gray. It was a legitimately unsettlingly funny script.
Right.
And I feel like something was done there that was done in no other movie, and it got really vocal laughter out of the theater I was in. Again, that theater shaved off lower and lower, so I guess I was left with all the weirdos or any other reviewers obligated to stay. But I feel like there was just such a unique approach to not push boundaries in a divisive way. It's trying to push boundaries as far as the script goes in making us laugh and forcing that kind of awkward dark humor that Yorgos
Right.
is known for.
Yeah.
So I would say another honorable mention is Celine's song for Past Lives.
Yes.
Much like Anatomy of the Fall, I guess could be a soft honorable mention here.
Oh, what am I saying? I should have put that in here. I'm sorry.
I
I had most of the list. I had this list done before.
And to your point earlier, so much is backloaded into the year.
It's so
you know?
annoying. Anatomy of the Fall, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But at least for Past Lives, Celine's song, I feel like this script just spoke to a cultural experience and invited us into a cultural experience that a majority of the people watching the film would have no respect or no chance at trying to grasp. Like Anatomy of the Fall, a strong dual language film, which I want to give some props to, which I love to see.
Not annoying. Surprisingly
yeah.
not annoying.
Right.
We both liked it in Anatomy of the Fall.
Sure.
Anatomy of a Fall. And Past Lives. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. I think both of those films, maybe the balancing act that happens is that there's subtitles, and maybe that's exhausting for some people to watch or to comprehend and still digest what's on film.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a break. You have a break sometimes, and you kind of come back to it, and then you're able to, attack the subtitles or attack the real concepts that's being unpacked.
The only issue I had that could be annoying across audiences is with, like, for instance, Anatomy of a Fall. I don't know how if it was segmented for past lives. With Anatomy of the Fall, you were either had the subtitles on or you had them off. Okay, subtitles did not pop on when French was being spoke, and then they turned off when English was being spoken.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think I remember back to the review, you said you were struggling.
I was going back and forth with
like,
screw it, keep them on.
Yeah,
but even when they were speaking a language I understood, I found my eyes going to the words still.
Oh, sure,
and not
sure.
focus on the screen.
Yeah.
So maybe did past lives break it up where they're speaking Korean, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, basically, that had a kind of a structural approach as well. That the two sides of this relationship, her American boyfriend, is obviously all English, but she's able to almost transport into her old Korean past life with this, through this other Korean relationship. So definitely very good. And Celine Song, a talent I'll be looking out for. The winner for best screenplay, though. The writing may be a little bit once again on the wall when it comes down to scores with this, but there was. I don't count myself as liking anything feel good. I really don't.
Oh, you're typically anti.
Right.
Correct.
I want to feel bad.
You hate when somebody comes up to you and be like, "Well, it's a feel-good movie.
Right.
It's a feel-good. You'll love it."
Yeah, it's good.
No,
I don't like
say
dog
that to Vin.
movies. I don't like Coda. I don't like Disney Channel. You know what I mean? I don't like any of this. I don't want to feel good. I want to feel miserable from a film. But there was one script that really won me over, and I really mean script, because if there was something that just drove it home, it was just a tight script for every single character. That is David Hemmingson for The Holdovers, gets the Tom Daly for best
Excellent.
screenplay. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. No argument. No argument there.
Yeah. I mean, to the point that every single character, the janitor, everyone.
Literally everyone.
No, you got a good track record on hitting these honorable mentions. But David Hemmingson, absolutely phenomenal. Really, just won me over in such a genuine way.
That's true. That movie really, performance and script is what that movie is. I mean, I know that's what you can say all movies are, but no, not like this.
Right.
Excellent. The Holdovers for best screenplay.
Yep.
2023. Okay, Tom Daly goes to you. Very, very good. Okay, all right. So let's move on to best music and or score for 2023.
All right.
So all of the films. Again, I went back and was kind of. It was tough for me to think of this, honestly. So I think I had 3 mentions.
Okay.
And that's it. One was John Wick 4 because the soundtrack was killer.
Yeah, it was killer.
The soundtrack moves. It makes the action better. It makes the movie quicker.
Absolutely.
It just is so enhanced.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, even when was it Justice that kicks on?
Yeah, Justice. Obviously, the John Wick theme is now La Castlevania.
Right.
Just really great. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have that. I have what I can only assume is Barbie as well.
Oh, okay.
The number pieces, the Ken song, correct? Again,
sure,
I'm a little bit in the dark a little bit. But.
Yeah, it wasn't on my list, but I mean, it's everywhere as far as I think it was Lizzo that did the main song, and then you have Billie Eilish as well.
Right, exactly.
Given the strong tie-ins
who just won the Globe, I think, right?
Yes, I believe
Not
so.
that matters, but because this matters. But I threw that on there, and then other ones I can just think of kind of also Killers because of Robbie Robertson, and I have Air ... haha because you hated the amount of the amount of tracks that they just threw into
Felt
Air.
like such a producer studio note. It was like, this needs to be more snappy when he drives up, and they just throw in an 80s song to it. Yeah, so
You're not a fan.
Yeah, not a fan.
So I know I'm missing some. What were some of your honorable mentions?
This is actually one that I have all different honorable mentions with this.
Okay.
I would say a recent one was Richard Ree Perry for Eileen. This soundtrack, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to it on its own.
Really?
It may sound odd with such a dark and, again, almost Hitchcock-like film.
Yeah, for people who aren't aware, because Eileen came and went. Again,
Yeah,
it was a
definitely
late
came and
entry. It was
Yep.
like late November or early
Right.
December.
Yep.
Barely in theaters.
Yep. Also cannibalized by Anatomy of the Fall because both are from Neon. So,
okay.
I even though Eileen was such a platform type of movie for Thomasin McKenzie.
Yeah.
Like that would be for like award season. That got totally pushed to the side as
Okay,
far as
gotcha,
that campaigning
gotcha.
goes.
But that's what we're talking about. I didn't realize you loved it.
Oh yeah,
that soundtrack so much.
And Richard Reed Parry, he even did the soundtrack for Iron Claw, which I wasn't like hugely into, but there's something to it. Richard Reed Parry, and as you mentioned on that episode that we covered, Eileen, did the music for Succession. I feel like he really captured something truly noir jazz, like true to form, and so dark and so twisted, and just an amazing soundtrack.
Okay,
amazing
wow,
soundtrack.
That's a nice little surprise there.
Yeah, absolutely. Big honorable mention, and he did win the Golden Globe for this. Got to give it an honorable mention to Ludwig Göransson for Oppenheimer.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, even to a point of critique for Oppenheimer, that soundtrack is playing constantly.
Loud, too.
Right,
In
yeah.
classic Nolan style.
Yeah, for real. So, I mean, worthy of critique as far as the implementation into Nolan's storytelling. Worthy of absolute praise, though, as far as an amazing, amazing soundtrack.
Yeah, can I say that's also why I paired. That's a great. I totally kind of that slipped my mind totally looking at the list here. But also why I had Oppenheimer for screenplay as well. When you look at the screenplay and then that music coming in, he made a historical biopic World War II thing, but just like a science movie.
Yeah, boring science.
He borderline action thriller.
Yeah.
Almost. Borderline sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for the next scene to envelop. A lot of that's helped out just the solid screenplay, but that music, that loudness keeps it going.
Absolutely.
And what Nolan and what Ludwig was able to do with that.
Yeah.
Excellent mention.
Yeah, and Ludwig, don't forget that he did all the music for Mandalorian, including the iconic theme. I mean, some of the best Star Wars music to kind of come out. So I was really rooting for Ludwig, and he absolutely earns it on such a loud and such an in-your-face score, but one that never lets up, and in a good way, never lets up. Gotta say, though, the winner for Best Music, though, is a shared win. We're going to give it to Hiromi Uhara for Blue Giant. Absolutely. I mean, the fact that...
Of course.
Much like Whiplash has actually good jazz in it, Blue Giant shares that type of spotlight.
Right.
That the music is equally as good and adds to the enjoyment of the film. Hiromi Uhara comes from a kind of a classical music space, so I don't know if jazz is necessarily her comfort zone, but let me tell you, this soundtrack is worth equal praise to the visual feast on screen for what you see paired with the jazz, and so imaginative and so transformative for the movie itself. Really, I mean, I think Blue Giant, like I said in the review,
that makes sense. That makes sense, though.
Our Achilles heel on the podcast is that the writing is on the wall with these. I think I said it in the review. I said this is my soundtrack of the year. You know what I mean? And well deserved. I mean, just a phenomenal mix of jazz classics, but also new jazz. I mean, it's kind of funny in that it's set in like this broken English, but they have a track called NEW, and it's just like so sharp and so exciting, and I feel like as far as jazz goes, let's take my comments of it being a gateway drug for anime, a gateway drug for jazz, much like how Whiplash would be, or maybe even like a La La Land. I would say Blue Giant soundtrack is a gateway drug for jazz as well.
Wow, excellent. So Blue Giant, music done by?
Hiromi Uhara.
Excellent. Okay. And you get, once again, the daily rating on that is an 82%. All right, so let's move on. Next one is for Best Film Editing. And I think it's important to highlight some of this stuff.
Yep.
Editing we might not always talk about as much as maybe cinematography or music.
Sure.
But editing is super important. It does come up a lot of times for bad. Sometimes when a film is just bad, it's when the editing is apparent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But some mentions here I have are John Wick, Chapter 4. I have The Creator, Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Killers of the Flower Moon.
All very good notes. I would say my main honorable mention goes to Nick Choi for Barbie. I feel like the editing plays so much into how the comedy is delivered. My mark is always going to be like an Edgar Wright, where the comedic timing is in the edit as well.
Right.
And I feel like so much of it cutting back to Ken and it bouncing back and forth between the two perspectives of Barbie's world and then the real world, so much of that timing was found in the edit. So definitely Nick Houy, Houy, I think that's Houy. Absolutely an honorable mention. Without a doubt, my winner, though, this was a clear cut for me, actually.
Okay, not on my list.
No, on your list.
Oh, okay.
There was only one movie that I would say the editing really achieved a storytelling in its own, and it is in the early moments of Oppenheimer, when Cillian Murphy is going through and learning the fundamentals of the new science, new physics, and so imaginative, and how the visuals on screen are not only displayed as far as the practical visual effects that Nolan has avoided CGI for, but more so the visual language of trying to translate to film, translate to the audience, something that's impossible to maybe, for any of us, our minds to wrap around, is what Oppenheimer was going through in discovering this new universe, if you will, of understanding. Jennifer Lane gets the Tom Daly for Best Editing for Oppenheimer. Jennifer Lane's done plenty of stuff, but she really killed it here.
Excellent.
And knocked it out of the park.
Jennifer Lane, okay, for Oppenheimer. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah.
I mean, when you watch the film and just, I don't know, the professionalism of it, you know, as weird as that is to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, excellent choice. Oppenheimer for Best Film Editing.
Yeah. And once again, that goes back to my review in that the fact that this story was able to make science compelling and something so cerebral compelling. Watching those scenes in Oppenheimer was like watching like some Carl Sagan stuff for the first time. It was just like, wow, it's making the layman, it's making myself, not a physicist, understand the gravity of this.
Excellent. Yeah, that's very well said, Vin. Okay, let's move on to Best Cinematography. So again, I think you might even be able to put 8 in this category.
Yeah.
I have 3 just main things that I mentioned
Sure.
here, and I know you might have more. Whatever, you take it wherever you want. I have Oppenheimer, and then I have Barbie and Killers of the Flower Moon. I think if anybody is going to get Best Cinematography, it goes to Rodrigo Prieto.
Yeah.
Okay, you have the same note? Because Rodrigo Prieto both did cinematography on Barbie and Killers of the Flower Moon.
This dude had a hell of a year.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, Killers for the taking you back to a certain segment in time in a specific place in a distant America.
Yes.
And then Barbie for being this punchy. One thing everyone says about Barbie is how fun and amazing it looks. How amazing the set piece was and the cinematography was.
Yep.
And that's all Rodrigo Prieto doing 2 totally different films.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 mentions, though. Vin?
I would say some honorable mentions. We got some tough names here. So bear with me in full respect to these people. Kramer Morgenthau for Creed 3. I feel like if there's anything to sell that action, there was something there that really was great. And Kramer was able to, again, switch up a tired and old type of boxing film and breathe new life into it. I would say another honorable mention, and we talked about it extensively in our last episode, of how action was the secret ingredient to elevate a tired biopic structure. I feel like that is found in the cinematography of Eric. I'm going to try my best here. Messerschmitt? Yeah, for Ferrari. Eric, I feel like, once again, is a secret ingredient to filming racing scenes in a not necessarily new way, because if anything, it felt like Mad Max Fury Road on how realistic it was. But in a year where I watched a hell of a lot of racing films in one specific franchise, it was just such a breath of like, wow, you can film something differently. There's not just one way to film a race car or one way to film speed. And not only that, with how Ferrari had a story to tell around racing in 1957 and how dangerous that was. I feel like the cinematography was a perfect match for that.
Excellent.
2 honorable mentions, but you hit the nail on the head, Tom. The winner for best cinematography goes to Rodrigo Pietro for Barbie and Killers of the Flower Moon.
If you had to pick one,
I think it goes to Barbie, actually.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Because it's found in the transition scenes of Barbie. It's found in the fun, conceptual, almost play-like scenes where there are static moving objects and it just feels like a playhouse.
I mean, it's dripping. I mean, it's oozing in just style.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel, and don't get me wrong, I feel like someone can look at Barbie and say, between the set design and even some of the cinematography, oh, this looks cheap. No, it's purposeful.
Yeah, it's purposeful.
And has such fun with the premise, too. So, absolutely. Rodrigo, you get it.
Like, props.
A hell of a year.
Yeah. Killers and Barbie. I mean, unbelievable.
Absolutely.
But he gets it. Rodrigo Prieto for Barbie gets it. Excellent. Okay, Vin. So those are we're going to start getting into the big awards
Big
now.
ones.
Here is where I have stationed the Keep an Eye Out award.
Ooh,
okay.
I love it.
Okay, so you have one for this, right?
I think so.
I couldn't figure out what to name it. So to name the award.
Right.
This one I think should be a lasting annual award, though.
Right.
And it goes into these right here.
Yes.
Because I think it's very important, and for all of the films we get, I mean, we covered 89. We probably could have covered 105 if we wanted to this year as far as new films go.
Yeah.
But honestly,
I think that's actually a really good estimate of like how many more that were left on the table.
And as far,
or how many little.
I mean, apparently 250 is what the Academy is saying that could be awarded the best film.
Oh, wow.
Or best picture.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Right. But as far as films people can actually see, 105, and that's pushing it.
Sure.
Regardless, the Keep an Eye Out award is for kind of someone new on the scene. This could be in any department, in any way, but someone who's a little bit younger and hasn't done a whole lot.
Sure.
But someone who impressed us this year and makes us say, ooh, we got to keep an eye out for this person.
They're going to do something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I actually have 4 mentions.
Wow. Okay.
Which I had one.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is a shoo-in. Then I kept on thinking about it. I came up with 4, a little bit more close than I thought.
Yeah.
So I'll just run through it, and we kind of we'll go from here. I'll start with it. Technically 3, but I'll mention the 4th. This was Kyle Edward Ball.
Okay.
For director of Skinamarink.
Oh, wow.
Now, Skinamarink was a 2022 release, but that was for very selected theaters. I believe the actual wide release, or the large release, once when IFC was able to get it in some films or some theaters, it was 2023. Kyle Edward Ball directed Skinamarink.
Yep.
Skinamarink you didn't love. You love the idea behind it.
Right.
You
Good concept, but...
Crazy low budget. I think it was like $15,000 or something.
I think, unfortunately, though, in execution, we gave that below the below.
I think it was 45 or something like that. But we were talking almost positively about the film.
Sure, right.
But the cool thing is this guy, it was a low budget. He ended up getting it into a film festival. It got picked up by IFC, which ended up being able to be put into a decent number of theaters, which is super impressive. Kyle Edward Ball was a YouTube guy, and he would make scary videos first on his nightmares he used to have, and then fans of his would write in what their nightmares are.
Wow.
And if he would go through them, select them, and then make videos based on that.
That's awesome.
Until he raised enough money on his own to go make this film. So I just don't think we've seen the end of him, and something tells me he'll be indie for sure and low budget.
Sure.
I think he's going to get some love in the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, excited for that follow-up of
exactly.
maybe a little bit more money and a little bit more time in the oven as far as working a concept that had a little bit more depth than Skinamarink.
Exactly. So Kyle Edward Ball for Skinamarink. Maybe keep an eye out.
That's great.
Next one I have, we mentioned her name already, is Celine Song, writer and director debut. She debuted with Past Lives, which is getting a lot of love. We really liked it on the, you watched it because you knew it was getting some praise. You liked it as well.
Yep.
And you gave her the...
An honorable mention as far as the screenwriter.
That's right. Yes, yes. I also have Sophie Wilde listed, who is the leading actress playing Mia in Talk to Me. One of the things that really worked for you was Mia in Talk to Me.
Yeah.
She kind of made the film. You said the way she can contort her body, the way she looks on screen and present
She
herself.
had this unhinged vibe.
Right.
Yeah,
she
absolutely.
sold it.
Yeah.
She sold the character in the kind of this smaller indie project. But I'm going to pass this to you, Vin, because something tells me we have the same person on the Keep an Eye Out award.
Well, you know what? I got to say, you hit the nail on the head as far as a mention to Celine Song for Past Lives. Such a personal type of film.
Yeah.
That I really do wonder what the follow-up will be, and if it's going to be anywhere as strong.
Okay, sure.
Because I don't know how you follow that up with such a personal endeavor and such a story that tells a culture and tries to put the audience in a position that they may not have experienced anything like that.
That's a
before.
great point. Can she invoke that
Exactly.
again?
And I think that's why it's an honorable mention for me, because I really don't know. You know, I got to say, as far as up-and-coming talent, this Jonathan Majors really looks promising. Boy, I can't wait to see what's next. But I think we're on the same page.
Bunch of bounce checks.
Don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page. Acting talent is what gets my eye here, and it is Dominic Sessa playing a role in The Holdovers. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid killed it emotionally. Has a unique look, almost like an Adam Driver style, where his bone features are just like, I don't know if he's like traditionally handsome, but like he's interesting on screen.
I'm a little worried of the roles that he can get. Like, was this the only role for him? That was what's scaring me. Dominic said playing Angus Tully.
Yes.
Yeah, in The Holdovers. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Giamatti just won the Golden Globe for Best Actor. I think Dominic Sessa belongs to be in that Best Actor talk just along with him. The shared screen time is almost identical.
Yeah.
And as much as you could say it's a Paul Giamatti story, this kid is also story very heavily on him. Very much. And at times, especially in Act 2, all about him, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dominic Sessa, leading actor playing Angus Tully in The Holdovers, the Keep an Eye Out award.
Yes.
And I think all these are good honorable mentions. All quite different.
Right.
Kyle Edward Ball, Sophie Wilde, Celine Song, Dominic Sessa. What do you think of those mentions?
I love that mention.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, kind of jokes aside, I am curious to see what happens with Jonathan Majors.
Okay, so that
because it looked real promising earlier this year.
Yes, it did. So that is Keep an Eye Out award, Dominic Sessa. I love this award. I think the BAFTAs do something close to this. The Oscars don't. The Globes don't. And I think that's a shame.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think
like
this
a young talent. Yeah.
Right, a young talent award, whatever. I think it's important. You want something that you and I had been bitching about is just where is the young talent?
Yes,
Where
absolutely.
is the actors coming up or actresses? And here we have a couple mentions.
Yeah.
So. And now
Now the big boys.
Yes, now the big boys. I have supporting actor first over actress. You want to do that?
Yes.
Or do you, you tell me.
I'm hoping you can fill some gaps as far as best supporting, because I feel like it's a boys club for my nominees and winners
for
with this.
Okay, so for the supporting actor and actress was some of my favorite awards to kind of get together. Actually, the ones I was most looking forward to and putting together were actually supporting and not the main actor and actress.
Yep.
So we'll start with actor.
Okay.
Is that or no?
I don't have them separated, but I can go on the fly. I can go.
Okay, so I have a lot listed here,
Okay.
but I have about 5 listed that I know aren't going to win. But I do want to mention, and something again, maybe something that I could catch one of your blind spots, or that I wanted to highlight again.
Yeah.
246 films. It might be good to highlight some. First on the list, I have Jonathan Majors playing Damian Anderson in Creed 3.
He was so good.
And that's why. The
was
reason
so
why is
good.
And the funny thing was, the real reason why I have this on here, we could have easily taken him off for all the stuff going on.
Right.
But one, I didn't want to forget about Creed 3. You brought it up twice already.
Yeah, right,
so
right.
I'm glad we did say something about it. But I also wanted to bring this up because the stark difference, how the character Jonathan Major is playing in Creed 3 is what you said should have been playing Kang.
Yes.
the Conqueror in Ant-Man 3.
A manipulator, a Cape Fear-like
Right.
character.
You loved him as a protagonist in Creed.
Right.
And then just what they were doing with Kang anyway.
Yep.
But that's okay. He's kind of off the map anyway.
Wasn't that?
Get me a little bit busy. Doing other stuff. Other supporting actors that I just wanted to mention probably won't win. I have Jamie Foxx playing Slick Charles in They Clone Tyrone.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you. I have, let's not forget Chris Tucker playing Howard White in Air.
Which apparently was very close to the real guy.
Okay, all right.
That's amazing.
I have Donnie Yen playing Kane in John Wick 4.
That's awesome.
He was a great protagonist / good friend to John Wick. He was playing a blind guy the entire time. So just props.
He uses door ringers as his
At one point,
his echolocation. That's great.
As a quick other mention that I have for fun is Nathan Lang playing Roger in Beau is Afraid, who you were a big fan of, actually.
He was actually
as
really
you said. You get the tri-tip.
Yeah, you get the tri-tip.
He played some good comedic relief in such a weird film.
Oh man, I think I have PTSD with Beau is Afraid. So.
And now here's some big heavy hitters that I think any of these could potentially be winners.
Sure.
And depending on the person.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor, Jeremy Iron White playing Carrie in The Iron Claw. Tio Wu as Hae Sung in Past Lives.
Okay.
Mark Ruffalo as Duncan Wedderburn in Poor Things. Willem Dafoe playing Dr. Goodwin Baxter in Poor Things. Ryan Gosling playing Ken in Barbie. And then we have Robert De Niro playing William Hale in Killers of the Flower Moon. And Robert Downey Jr. playing Louis Strauss in Oppenheimer.
Yes. I mean, a phenomenal list. And if anything, illustrative of how truly strong of a year this year was.
Yeah.
I mean, you compare this to the crumbs, the pickings at the end of the barrel that we had for 2022. I don't even know what I give Best Supporting for. I don't think we had it. I don't think we had it.
We might not. I don't think we had supporting.
I don't think we had supporting. So, yeah. I mean, and if anything, all of these nods worth a watch. You know, because of these supporting actors.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything I was missing? Any other honorable mentions?
I don't think so. I think the ones I want to focus in on Ryan Gosling and Barbie.
Yeah.
Let me not really. Let me stress how much of the comedy works because of Ryan Gosling. I mean, like, he holds a lot on his back.
I want to introduce just another phrase that I wanted to work into the award ceremony. We have what we say are the runner-ups or the honorable mentions, which is good. I think ones that really stick out, ones that easily could win on any other year, ones we don't want people to forget, just a daily recognition.
Sure.
So Ryan Gosling, I would say, gets a daily recognition.
Yeah, right, because comedic-wise, I mean, man, he's just he's genuinely funny. And I feel like it's just such an uphill battle for him because even myself, I saw him being cast as Ken. I was like, the dude's too old. He looks so
I
old.
always liked myself.
Right. Well, it's also the bleach blonde hair. Like, it looks, I mean, it's not the most flattering type of thing. But boy, did he just kill it. I mean, arguably the best part of Barbie.
Wow.
And
not that you didn't like Margot either.
Right. But let me tell you, I mean, he really killed it. I would say the strong contender for me here was Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer. It was what I've been wanting out of both Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans. The cord has been cut from Marvel.
Yeah.
They are finally free, where Chris Evans, it has only been disappointment and him falling back into old habits of being a douchebag actor. It is really... Robert Downey Jr. has... I mean, I guess you can't say things like Doolittle and like shit he did right after were great. This felt like, wow, yes, he's now using this momentum and this popularity to surge forward into projects that we can be really excited about.
Absolutely.
I also feel like that character of Strauss was so divisive and so key to the actual drama going on in the film. I mean, there's a lot of drama points in Oppenheimer, but when you really get down to it, it is kind of about the manipulation that is happening behind scenes and legality that is happening behind scenes and personal revenge and pettiness to it. So I thought that was great. I got to say my winner, I'm showing a little bit of bias here. My winner for Best Male Supporting has to go to Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wow.
I know we're going to be a little bit on opposite sides here, and that's totally fine.
I mean, I have grown. No, I haven't grown on my feelings on it. I've thought about it more and can
Sure.
can see how you get there.
Right,
Let's
right.
say that.
Yes.
I've listened to that review a couple times over and more.
Okay. And let me
'Cause
say as well, I can see 100% what you're saying because I feel like in recent months, Robert De Niro has all the more been kind of referred to as, he's just one of those actors,
Right,
which is
right.
not
It's
De Niro
not-
to me, but that's, you know.
And for those of you wondering, if you go back and listen to our killers, it is Vin loved it for the year.
Yeah.
It was the longest review I think we ever done. It was about a half an hour long.
Right, it was a lot of
And
discussion.
We spent about 12 minutes on Robert De Niro alone. So if you're curious of what this is coming out of,
That really
it's
was
that
one of my
episode.
favorite reviews of the year. I feel like we struck such a balance of discussion, but also really getting down to the critical aspects of it.
It was Marty. We were passionate.
Yeah.
It was a big film coming out. I had some issues with Robert De Niro where at some points I felt like maybe kind of phoning it in, even though I didn't want to say that
Sure,
kind
sure.
of at the time. Looking back at it more,
Mm-hmm.
just being around 2000s, 2010s Robert De Niro so
Mm-hmm.
much, it's no. I feel like he was grabbing into the 90s De Niro a little bit. He was going back and really trying. I could see that there was effort put into this.
Yeah, yeah.
So supporting actor, not to mention amount of screen time he has. It is as supporting as you can get until your lead.
Yeah, absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
So excellent. Wow. Okay. So
Another great example of the supporting actor having such sway over how things are going in the story as well.
Right.
I just really loved him. I feel like it just captured such a degree of what I want in some of the best De Niro performances. Was it maybe up there with the best De Niro performances? I don't know.
No, I think no.
You're right.
I think no. But some of his best performing was when he was the lead, though. Too.
It's very true.
I mean, because can you say he was the lead in Cape Fear?
I guess. Well, tough how
Who
you
plays
see
the
that
dad?
movie.
William Hurt?
No, that's I think it's Nick Nolte.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And honestly, De Niro is kind of a supporting actor. You look at Goodfellas, you look at, other kind of antagonistic
that's a good
roles.
point, too.
So
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. At least for me, though, I think that's where I sit with this kind of best actor or best supporting actor nomination.
I love it. I don't hate that at all. I very
Yeah.
much respect that. So Robert De Niro.
Bobby.
Who knows how many other Tom Daly's he's going to get?
Yeah, that's very
Because
true.
again, nothing else matters.
Right.
Clearly. Best supporting actor goes to Robert De Niro for Killer of the Flower Moon, playing William Hale, I believe. Correct? Yeah. Okay, so let's go to supporting actress now. And like I said, I was excited to kind of get these on page a little bit and think about these. I was having a good time. I really like these two categories. I think we had such good supporting roles here.
Yep.
So I'll just go through it once again.
Sure.
I have Carey Mulligan in Maestro, which I
Okay.
know you and I might have a little bit of disagreement last week.
we do.
I have Julianne Moore playing Gracie in May, December.
Okay.
Vanessa Kirby as Josephine Bonaparte in Napoleon.
Okay.
Lily Gladstone for Molly Burkhart in Killers of the Flower Moon. Divine Joy Randolph playing Molly Lamb in The Holdovers. Anne Hathaway playing a brief role, but a very good role as Rebecca in Eileen.
Yes.
And finally, I have Scarlett Johansson for playing Midge Campbell in Asteroid City.
Oh, yeah, that's totally right.
She was
yeah.
on screen a lot. She had to play kind of different, a little bit roles emotionally. The actress that she was playing, I thought it was just ScarJo on screen, killing it.
Yeah.
And again, wanted to give it. I understand it might not win. Really wanted to give that a mention because, for a Wes Anderson film, it didn't hit as hard as maybe we've seen him do before. Still a very interesting, unique film.
Right.
And the actors doing a great job and actresses. So I just wanted to give a nod to ScarJo for Asteroid City. But those are my kind of mentions, Vin. Did I miss any? Some fell through the holes?
No, I think you hit across the board. Well, I guess the arms race for me is between Carey versus Penelope Cruz, and I think Penelope Cruz is missing a little bit there.
Okay. You know what? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
as far as best supporting goes.
And I'm sorry I didn't put her in, actually.
Yeah.
I critiqued most of these after last week, and I forgot to put her in here.
I guess I wonder, I don't know, if we really see Carey Mulligan as supporting, I wonder who gets best lead actress then, because I feel like
I have a few mentions.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7
you're right.
in the potential lead actress.
Well, as far as best supporting goes, I feel like there was really only one role that the casting spoke to the scope of the film, and that is Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, okay, excellent.
I feel like it really all hits towards the end of that film when Martin Scorsese actually has a role. In kind of folks, if you haven't seen the film, no fault of it. It's a doozy. There's a moment that Martin Scorsese comes on screen and is speaking about the facts of what we've been seeing on screen in a more sobering and cold note, and I feel like it's a really amazing scene, but the way that scene hits so hard is through the humanity and through our personal connection to Lily Gladstone's character in this.
Beautiful, yep.
Yeah, and I think best supporting. Lily Gladstone could very well go into Exciting Around the Corner or Best Up and Coming. I'm forgetting the
Exciting Around the Corner. Okay, woo, boy.
The drinks are set in.
Yeah, Exciting Around the Corner.
It's like a foreigner. It's like a broken English.
Yes, she could go in and keep an eye out. I just, for some reason in my head, I attributed her that she's been acting for a bit, or for like the past 10 years or so. So that's why I didn't put her in there. And I think she won for lead actress in a drama series on the Globes.
Oh, really?
This past Sunday.
Interesting.
Which I don't agree with. I don't think she's got enough going on screen.
Yeah,
Screen
especially
time.
the medical aspect. I mean, she's out, you know.
Right. But from the get-go, when you're watching this film,
Yeah.
coming out of it, us on the review, Lily Gladstone absolutely crushes this.
Right.
And I think we'll be getting a lot of phone calls after this,
Absolutely.
and rightfully so.
And well deserved, absolutely.
And
So.
yeah, exactly. And I hope she's not pigeonholed. I think things are changing enough where I don't think she would be pigeonholed to just getting calls about we need Native American X, Native American this.
Right.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And she just seems like a very cool person as well. So Lily Gladstone playing Molly Burkhart in Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
Excellent, man. Excellent.
Well
and,
deserved.
and so great pairing that with Scorsese's thing at the end, too.
Yep.
It's true. You do feel the weight of it because we know the character through her.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
What a great last scene, too. I took that as, fading to black. Movie ends, fades to black, and then we get the catch-up stuff on screen.
Oh, sure,
The
the
three
text.
lines of the white text. And
Right.
instead, Scorsese did something completely different.
Exactly.
And was beautiful.
Yeah.
If people could get to the end. Do we want to go into Best Actor and Actress?
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
up next.
All right, so we'll go actor again since we did supporting actor first. So here, I don't have many on the list here, and maybe you can kind of assume these. I
okay.
have Cillian Murphy playing J. Robert Oppenheimer in Oppenheimer. Adam Driver as Enzo Ferrari in Ferrari. Bradley Cooper playing Leonard Bernstein in Maestro. Dominic Sessa playing Angus Tully in The Holdovers.
yeah.
And Paul Giamatti as Paul Hunman in The Holdovers.
Sure.
And then I have here Leo for Killers of the Flower Moon.
Right.
But those are my kind of mentions, my go-to thinking when I think of Best Actor for 2023.
Sure. I'll give Leo this much. It wasn't a annoying performance in the way that I get annoyed with Leo of just being yelly, shouty, you know.
You only had one scene on this one.
Voice cracking,
Right.
is his classic go-to. I would say my honorable mentions are split 50-50 with Bradley Cooper and Adam Driver. I think, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love The Holdovers.
Yeah.
I feel like those performances, they were in the script. I don't know. There's something there that was in more concept than actual performance. I don't know. I
That
could be wrong.
surprises me.
Yeah.
What I hear, I think it's that movie is solely 50% script, 50% actor selling it.
sure.
I understand the script was amazing.
Right.
But it's basically that if you don't have one, the movie falls apart.
Very true.
What I would say is maybe where you can't put them as best actor is, again, it is so shared.
Yeah.
It is so shared. The reason why I can put Paul Giamatti, at first I thought Dominic Sessa was, like, for the first 2 months.
Sure.
I thought first month and a half. First, Dominic Sessa was the supporting.
Yeah.
And then I thought the opening scene starts with Paul Giamatti and ends with Giamatti. The opening and closing shots.
Yeah.
But the middle section of that film is so Dominic Sessa heavy and on his story that it's so shared.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to split apart and pick one from the other.
It is
and
true.
one doesn't truly shine over the other.
Right. Especially in the scenes where they are finally bonding and whatnot,
Sure.
and getting a little bit emotionally deeper. So I think when it comes down to it, Bradley Cooper for Maestro and Adam Driver for Ferrari are two sides of the same coin. I think they're both really good acting. Adam Driver kind of is an honorable mention for me because I just love Adam Driver so much.
Yeah.
And I like this character that he's playing with Enzo. On the other side of the coin, though, I'm not as big of a fan of Cooper. Not like to the point that I don't like him or anything like that.
Right.
But
We love him.
right.
He's our Philly boy. He's a good
Philly
representative.
boy. Right. We got to represent. But when it comes down to it, I mentioned it briefly in the review. Do I think the nasaliness of his performance is it brilliant? I don't know. I think the physical, the prosthetic, the memorization, the method acting aspect of it, that's where the praise belongs. But I think those are the kind of the two sides of the same coin. The winner, though, I think this was really clear cut for me because out of all of these, I mean, talk about the guy looking like the guy. It's Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. I mean, he embraced this persona of how punished Oppenheimer's really was in real life. This persona of how he goes from tortured by his existence and making the bomb into kind of a confidence and a role of this not Doctor of Death, but this dealer of death that he takes on later in his life. I think Oppenheimer also gives enough breadth where Maestro and Ferrari frankly didn't.
It's just constant.
Yeah.
Just punching you in the face.
It gives enough of a runway for us to see development in the character. Yes, Maestro handles many years over Lenny Bernstein's life, but there's the argument for how it's split with Carey Mulligan.
Sure, yeah.
Where with Oppenheimer, we get the same runway of seeing him develop as a person and seeing Cillian Murphy's acting develop as a person as well.
Yeah.
So.
His dedication to the role as well. I think it's as close as you can get before your method acting. Even, I mean, just the reports coming out were just like, after filming would wrap and the day would finish, all the actors would always go out to dinner together.
Okay.
And Cillian never did. He was just so enveloped in the role and he felt like he had so much weight on his shoulders, he could never relax. He couldn't just converse with these people.
Sure.
The role was just overwhelmingly important
Yeah.
and just massive laying on him.
Right.
So it was such a big task to take this on, and the way he did it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Truly phenomenal. Absolute professional is what he's turning into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a total,
Absolutely.
just A-grade actor.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy for J. Robert Oppenheimer in in Oppenheimer. Okay.
And talk about looking like the guy. You know what I mean?
The gauntness.
Yeah, he's a skeleton.
Okay, so let's go to Best Actress. So I have some more on here. Like I said, I think I have 7 for Best Actress. I'll just name them off here. See what you think. So I have Sophie Wilde as Mia in Talk to Me.
Okay.
I have Greta Lee as Nora in Past Lives.
Okay.
Margot Robbie playing Barbie in Barbie. Emma Stone as Bella Baxter in Poor Things. Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla Presley in Priscilla.
Oh, okay.
Just because it's on her shoulders.
Yeah.
That Thomasin McKenzie for Eileen Dunlop in Eileen. And finally, Natalie Portman for playing Elizabeth in May, December. Any that I forgot or add, or who won?
I would say the only ones that I want to cut are, and you said this for Best Supporting as well, is the nod for May December for Natalie Portman and
You were not hot on the film.
Yeah.
You liked the guy maybe the most.
Yes. Yeah.
But I thought maybe their performances, even though not liking the film or content, whatever, performances might have driven home.
Right. And I mean, is there much worth in me saying, oh, actually, they don't get an honorable mention? No. I mean, I think that's petty. But at the same time, I feel like there are so many smaller roles. Perfect example for Talk to Me.
Sophie Wilde?
Yeah. I mean, that is a classic example of something deeply getting overlooked just because it's in a horror package.
Yeah, and a small film. I mean,
right.
As far as, yeah.
Yet May December as a artsy, pedophilic, I mean, like, antagonistic movie, that gets the praise. I feel like there are other aspects there that I think there are more worthy of the honorable mention there. I think the honorable mention for me is Thomasin McKenzie for Eileen. I know I'm going to be in the dark on this one. I think I'm fully comfortable calling Eileen my Crimes of the Future of last year. I'm the only one holding the torch for Crimes of the Future.
I haven't heard anybody utter it. Well, that Blue Giant, but yeah.
Yeah, right. So I guess I'm holding the torch for Eileen as well. But I think Thomasin McKenzie, I think it earns it because one, the film is like a serious like acting platform for her in a way that could be a critique as an Oscar baity type of film. Really enjoyable and such a exciting new role for her normal small little girl mousy ways. Again, this Hitchcock wannabe that the film was just so great. The thing is here, my pick, I think you're gonna disagree with fundamentally. So I think I'm gonna move one of my honorable mentions into the win. I don't know. How do you want to do this here?
Well, I want to know this is where the Tom Daly comes in. You get the final call.
I get the final call.
Well, you're already cutting my mention. No. What do you honestly feel is the best?
I think it's Carey Mulligan. But if it's not Carey Mulligan, I mean, let's decide this right here. We really need to.
I honestly, I don't know. You said, are you positive that IMDb and or Wikipedia put her as the lead? The main?
Yes, top billing. And I know, and the reason why I even brought it up because I was almost mind boggled about it. You know what I mean? And that even played into some of my praise for Cooper. This not being a puff piece, this not being his own acting platform. Listen, if it's not. I think it goes probably to Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of the Fall.
Oh shit! I forgot to put her on too from last week. I did correct stuff from last week, but I guess it's not coming across like that. By the way, honorable mention.
Yeah,
Sandra
Hüller
for Anatomy of a Fall.
Yeah,
talk about just a ton of dialogue she didn't even remember. Now the thing with her is, I was thinking about her role. She's great in the role that she has to do. I think we brought this up in the review. But the problem with Sandra Hüller's character is she is pigeonholed by the fact of she is in a constant state of this feeling.
Yeah.
She is playing a woman that is dealing with this stuff going on.
Now, and we're supposed to look at a little crooked as well.
Right.
So
she just isn't given the leash to have a lot of range.
Yep.
And that's the thing, because she's really just like, it's going through this one moment in her life, dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
But Sandra Hüller, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
She, in fact, top of the list, close to Best Actress.
Absolutely.
Carey Mulligan...
It's tough. I agree. I agree. It feels wrong to call her lead.
I hate to bring it up for probably the fourth or fifth time because I know and don't care personally about the Golden Globes.
Okay.
But if Lily Gladstone can win Best Actress, not supporting, Best Actress.
Straight up actress.
I think then we have to give it to Carey Mulligan. Gets Best Actress for her playing... what was... I know, I couldn't remember. Okay. Carey Mulligan in Maestro.
I really think it's well deserved, and
I loved her performance.
Absolutely.
I don't know if people listen to that or not, but if you want to go back, I thought her performance was one of the best female performances of the year.
Yeah.
The problem was I put her in supporting.
Sure.
Yeah.
For the understanding of it. And I totally agree. I mean, it feels a little bit odd to call it lead, but either way, I mean, I think if supporting and lead are aside, and we're just talking about acting performances, period, for actress.
Yeah.
I feel like Mulligan really does take it then. And this was me even coming into being a little bit, not annoyed, but not expecting a lot from Mulligan. We covered She Said on the podcast, which was very lackluster. Way back when, for Emerald Fennell, we covered Promising Young Woman, which, I had a lot of issues with that film. Mulligan was all right, I guess, in that. So when it comes to I feel like she was able to win me over in a way that was already a little bit of an uphill battle for me. And I feel like that's where, for me, looking back at all these movies and really trying to digest, like, how did I really feel about all this?
Right.
I think Mulligan, that's where she stands out.
Okay. And you know what? I will support you in that.
Okay.
I will support you in the decision, especially, I will say, Maestro even takes a point towards the end of the film. It almost becomes a Carey Mulligan story.
Yeah.
Or her character story
Right.
we're poor at pronouncing. Okay, Carey Mulligan for Best Actress in Maestro. Excellent, Vince. So let's keep things going. We're getting down to the end here. Let's go into Best Director.
Ooh.
So, Best Director, I feel like some of these are just going to be obvious.
Yeah.
I'll just run through these real quick.
Sure.
You take it where you want.
Sure.
Best Director, some mentions at least. Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer. Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. Bradley Cooper for Maestro. Mm-hmm. Michael Mann for Ferrari. And Greta Gerwig for Barbie.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I have one additional.
Good.
And I was actually really tempted to give this the win, but it's almost outlandish in comparison to some of the other movies. I want to give a lot of props to Chad Stahelski for John Wick 4.
Oh!
We've talked about it on that episode. That's a great episode, folks. If you haven't listened to it, also if you haven't, if you don't know what all the hype around John Wick is about, that's a great episode to kind of dive into.
Yep.
Chad Stahelski is a talent that starts in action choreography. So him being matched and going into action directing, I feel like is the type of talent I look for. I probably repeat myself so much with Edgar Wright being an editor and then taking that editing talent and having his films really embodying the tricks of the trade. When it comes to Chad Stahelski, I feel like he deserves an honorable mention in some way because not only is John Wick 4 great, John Wick 4 has some of the best action of the series as well. And you can just tell that
some of the best action of all time in film.
Absolutely.
Great mention.
Yeah.
Great mention.
I would say Bradley Cooper Maestro is my second honorable mention.
Triple threat.
Yeah, triple threat. It is not a puff piece. It avoids what all of my cynicism told me it was going to be. Like, I really thought this was going to be like a bloated mess and like it's all about him acting and with his prosthetic nose. And he really did a wonderful job. And if anything, a light note going back to that review that I maybe want to emphasize is I feel like there is value in that movie, even though we commented a lot on saying that it didn't solve its job, didn't do its main job at letting us know Lenny Bernstein. It is telling the hidden story of Lenny Bernstein, and I feel like that is something that I can get excited behind, knowing that's the scope, and I feel like that's where Bradley's inspiration was as well.
Okay,
so,
all right.
Winner, I gotta give it to Marty. Gotta give it to Marty.
Wow.
Best winner for Best Director.
Wow.
Best winner. Yeah. Winner for Best Director, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon.
You gotta talk about the separation here.
I mean, I want to give it to Nolan in the sense that him and his brother is a writer, really wanted to do Oppenheimer's story for a long time. And going back to the review, I said very clearly, I mean, I think he does the impossible by just... He tackles the whole story.
Yeah.
He doesn't take on 1 year. He doesn't take on, you know what I mean? He wants it all.
Yep.
Almost to the film's detriment in some ways. But Martin Scorsese was able to give us a view into yet another American crime drama. Killers of the Flower Moon is not as good as Goodfellas. Does it basically accomplish what Goodfellas did? I think so. I think it gives us a peek into something that is fresh eyes for us, which is this semi-Old West, but not really, and this view on these Native American people that was able to open our eyes and in such a Marty way make us interested through the crime of it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't disagree because Killers was such a huge movie and a good movie. We both loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I only gave it 2 shoes, polished at least. It did have a polish on there. I might think more fondly looking back on it.
Sure.
But I love it. I'm very pro that.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to me wanting to give it to Marty over Christopher Nolan, which is realistically...
that's the big story. That's the big story, yeah.
Yeah, that's the title match here. I feel like Marty was able to break from his own conventions in a good way. I'll give you an example. Goodfellas to Casino. Casino feels derivative of Goodfellas. Casino's a great movie. I love Casino.
Yeah,
but it feels derivative of what everyone is doing after post Goodfellas. Where with Killers of the Flower Moon, he was able to take a similar type of structure to his crime drama and give us something entirely new with it, with a similar skeleton. Where Nolan, with Oppenheimer, an excellent movie, feels like every other Nolan film. And if anything, that's driven home because of the music.
Wow,
and
interesting.
how it's
okay.
done. So.
All right. So Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Best Director. A lot of some good directors, though, this year overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some good honorable mentions for sure. Okay, so we basically just have one more main award. Well, they're all main awards. We do have a lot of awards coming up still. But let's get into it right away, Vin. This is the Best Picture of 2023. We talked about it a couple times. It's not like you didn't watch all the films this year. You absolutely did, and we got something to say about it. So Best Picture for 2023, Vin. The writing's a little bit on the wall.
I think the writing's on the wall. I've shown my
the daily rating is there.
Yeah. I just want to say that in any other year, my two honorable mentions for The Holdovers and Oppenheimer would absolutely walk away Best Picture because I feel like Holdovers was able to win me over in a way that films usually do not. I'm not a very emotional type of viewer.
Right.
Especially in the job of the podcast. And Oppenheimer, I feel like, was able to just tackle the full novel of a biopic. You know what I mean? It just didn't leave anything off the table, which I feel is so much easier said than done, especially when it comes to the palatability of a film. Obviously, going back to Oppenheimer, that was held back a little bit from the coveted, 85 and above, because I feel, of that palatability.
Right.
Was there something there that would lose people? And I feel like talking about the film after the fact, it lost some people in the courtroom aspects, the second half, post-bomb.
It was not a flawless film.
Right.
And in some ways dragged a little bit too much. Some people didn't like the back and forth of the timeline, but also the changing up of the black and white.
Sure. A little bit too much.
Yeah, it's a little bit all over. It's not just that when it's black and white, we're back in time.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of it we're future as well, but it's played with a little bit. And then, also not a short movie too. So not flawless.
Right. And I would honestly say a similar aspect to the winner here, that it wasn't necessarily flawless, but much like the winner last year with All Quiet on the Western Front, it was a movie that I feel when I sat down, it demanded my attention in a way that others definitely didn't this year. Holdovers is a great example of something earning my attention and me wanting to watch it and maybe even wanting to watch it again and again. But I feel like there was a gravity that happened and a worthitness that happened, much like All Quiet on the Western Front last year, and the winner is the writing on the wall, folks. It's Killers of the Flower Moon.
All right. Yeah. Killers of the Flower Moon. Congratulations to Marty.
Well deserved for Marty. Listen, I maybe there's a little bit of bias as far as with Marty here, but like I said in that review, I was preparing myself to shit on that movie. I was really worried.
We were both worried.
Yeah,
I was both worried about it.
Super worried that Marty's time has come and gone, and that he has these big productions that unfortunately do not deserve as much attention as they were. Killers of the Flower Moon surprised me in such a significant way that absolutely, I'm fully confident giving it the Best Picture.
And again, it's a little bit writing on the wall because it is an 85%.
Yep.
It is the best film we covered all year.
Yep.
Now, Oppenheimer got a 84, so that's how much we're splitting hairs there a little bit to an extent.
Exactly. Single digits to Holdovers, single digits to some other things as well.
Yes, and honestly, Marty could have made probably a better film that would have made more money, and maybe even would have been a better film.
Right.
So, because don't forget, he wrote the script, and then the Osage Nation kind of read it, or the leader's the chief.
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah,
someone from Osage basically reviewed it.
Yes.
Didn't like it, and Marty scrapped the whole script and started fresh because the book it's based on, don't forget, is really the story of the beginning of the FBI.
Yes.
It is. Yeah.
It's an investigation book or novel of the actual killings and and what happened after the fact.
So basically, picture if this film is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's focusing on a lot of murders, but it follows Leonardo DiCaprio as the FBI agent, leaning heavily on the origins of the FBI story.
Sure. Or Jesse Plemons' character.
Well, I was going to say, have him as Jesse Plemons. And what if the idiot was played by Jesse Plemons?
Oh, okay.
Swap those two, make the film shorter, and make it more FBI Osage than just really Osage heavy. That right there is Goodfellas on the prairie, almost. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that was
brilliant. I did not think, by the way. That's all me.
That was on the cup.
That's all me.
That's why we drink the booze for the Tom Dailies, folks. We're loose.
But you know what I mean. Marty
probably
had something that was snappy or more cinematic.
Yeah.
But he kind of panned it and rewrote the entire thing. And what he did was made an unbelievable lens into this time period. And I said earlier, this specific time period in this section of America back then, and it just told the story beautiful of these people. Amazing. And an 85%, I mean, it's so good. Like I said, it's the number one film of the year. Kind of the writing's on the wall.
Yep.
And real quick, I'll just go through some of the tops and best type of deal. So, like we said, Killers of the Flower Moon got an 85%. We have the top 11 films of 2023. So all of these are kind of honorable mentions.
Yeah.
Starting kind of at that top of the list, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Evil Dead Rise ties with a 79%. John Wick Chapter 4, with a 79 as well.
Yep.
Sorry. We have Suzume, Ferrari, and Barbie tied at 80.
Okay.
We have Inside with Willem Dafoe with an 81%.
The dark horse.
Blue Giant and The Holdovers tied for third best film with an 82. We have Oppenheimer with an 84, and like we just said, best film of the year, best picture goes to Killer of the Flower Moon with an 85. Not to forget about the rest of the podcast, the rest of the year, the other 157 films. I'll go through real quick the top 13 films of 2023 on the podcast.
Okay.
We have The Nightmare Before Christmas and John Wick 1 with an 83.
Okay.
We have The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, Oppenheimer, and 21 Grams, tied with an 84%. The Sixth Sense, adaptation, Killers of the Flower Moon, tied with an 85.
Wow.
We have tied for third place of all year, If Beale Street Could Talk, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, with an 86%. We have
both phenomenal movies. But
tied for second, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Truman Show with an 87%. But the number one film of the year on the podcast, 246 films watched. What takes the crown is Kubo and the Two Strings with an 88%.
Such a wonderful film.
An excellent film. Animation as well. Love it. Should we just go through, before we get through the other sections, should we go through some of the worst films that we covered as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, so the top 13 worst films of 2020.
I love these numbers. Top 13,
well,
top 11.
Some are tied, you know what I mean?
Okay, I gotcha.
As far as 2023 films, the top 13 worst, we have The Nun 2 with a 34%. Silent Night with a 33. The Pope's Exorcist with a 32. We have Insidious, The Red Door, and Fast X with a tied for a 31.
Wow.
We then have Adam Driver's 65 with a 30%.
Oh, God.
The Exorcist Believer with a 29. I know we're getting bad.
Yeah.
Shazam! Exclamation point. Fury of the Gods with a 26%. Nefarious with a 24. Rebel Moon Part 1.
Yeah, there it is.
A Child of Fire with a 22. Number third worst film of the year.
That's not even top 3?
Expendables 4 with a 21. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 with an 18%. And the worst film.
I know what it is.
And then the worst 2023 film is Magic Mike's Last Dance. With a 13%.
Take your grandma to it. It's the tamest Magic Mike you will ever see.
And then for the entire year, like I said, that was out of 90 films or 89 films. 246 films watched this year in 2023 on the podcast, top 18. We have Mothra vs. Godzilla, Magic Mike XXL, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, 47 Ronin, tied with a 26%.
Wow, 47. Wait, hold up. That is legitimately
Yeah.
the Houdini winner.
I know.
Wait, what? When did I cover 47 Ronin?
I was shocked when I saw it.
What?
I was shocked.
What?
But I swear to God, beginning of the
Keanu run?
beginning of the
I don't even.
no beginning of the
don't
year.
remember.
Beginning of the year. 26%. We then have Insidious Chapter 2, Mithrigan tied with a 25.
Oh,
we have
yeah.
Nefarious and Something in the Dirt tied with a 24%. We have The Happening and Rebel Moon Part 1 and Child of Fire tied with a 22. We have Expendables 4 with a 21. Hey, boy, get ready for a big bad monster. We have Terror of Mechagodzilla with a 20%. Invasion of Astro Monster at 19%. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 with an 18. Magic Mike Blatt's Dance with a 15%. Third worst film of the year, Dungeons and Dragons with a 13.
Wait.
The original.
Oh, okay.
The original, 2000.
I my heart dropped a second. I was like, I gave the new Dungeons.
No, 2000's Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. Second worst film, Ghidorah, Three-Headed Monster, a Godzilla film with a 10%. And
bad.
finally, the worst film of the 246 that we watched, Godzilla Final Wars, with an 8%.
Well, yeah, well deserved as that
A
8%.
poopy 8%.
My God. Even Ghidorah Three-Headed Monster, that's the one where Godzilla dances. He has a victory dance in it. It's not.
Oh my God, that's
good.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. So I hope you're all with us here. This is a longer episode, but fun. I know that you can skip around and everything like that, but I needed to go through those numbers so we know
That's
what we're
great.
doing.
That
Top
was
and
awesome. Yeah.
because we got to split up 2023 and then the whole year.
Yeah.
You're covering 57
Yeah,
other films,
Right.
you know? But okay, folks, it's time to get into some of those special awards. We're in a different category than Tom Daly. Still a Tom
Yes.
Daly Award. They look the same. They smell the same. They touch and feel the same. But it is the special awards. Before we get into our first award, though, that we are carrying over from last year, because we are carrying over some from last year.
Hell yeah.
Some I'm going to surprise
great.
you on. We need to play a game first, though, Vin, to enter us into this new genre. That's
Okay.
right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to play
Name that movie.
Yes. Name that movie, ladies and gentlemen.
Who spoke up there?
This
Who's
is
that
a
voice?
game. I don't know. Sounds like a handsome fella. This is a game, Name That Movie, where I am going to read the quick 2 to 3 line synopsis of a film
Okay.
that we watched this
Love
year, and you need to guess what the film is.
I love it. It's so
By the way,
good.
and I didn't know whether to go, do I go all 2023? Do I not? These are 3 2023s and 3 2022 films.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
even though those are older films we covered,
Right.
it's still pretty fresh in
Yeah.
the mind. And some of them might be obvious, but they go along with our next award that we're actually giving up. So, okay, once again, name that movie game.
Yep.
Okay,
The
this
game.
get ready. So, motivations are suspect and expectations are turned to chaos as a con artist takes on Manhattan billionaires. Vincent Daly.
Name that movie.
That sounds like Sharper.
Wow.
Yeah, I got it.
Sharper.
Hell yeah.
2023 get a 70%, kind of like the movie.
I kind of did.
So Sharper, wow, you remembered that. Very
Yeah.
good. Okay, Sharper was starring Julianne Moore, I believe, still this
Yes,
year.
yeah.
And it was it Apple release or something like that?
Yeah, it was an Apple release. It was
Okay.
also Sebastian Stan, and yeah.
Okay, very, pretty good.
You
game
thought
might
you
take
were
a
gonna really
shit
get
here.
me with that.
Okay, here we go. A woman reflects on the shared joy and private melancholy of a holiday she took with her father 20 years earlier. Memories real and imagined fill the gaps between as she tries to reconcile the father she knew with the man she didn't. Vincent Daly, name that movie.
Oh man. This sounds like After Sun.
It's After
Oh
Sun.
yeah. That's
Wow.
great.
Okay. All right. This guy's doing really well. Destroying the next award. Almost.
Destroying the next one.
Okay, let's go with something else that might be crazy obvious here.
Okay.
We have the son of a traveling pastor overcomes physical obstacles to pursue his dreams of playing baseball in the major leagues. It's the most obvious one.
Oh, but I forget the name. I forget the name. Wait, The Hill?
This is The Hill.
Yeah.
Son of a
There we
bitch.
go.
3 for 3, folks. Okay, the game is falling apart. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here's our next one, Vin. We have...
I did watch these movies.
All right, well, that's true. Too. A drama about the power of human connection during turbulent times, set in an English coastal town in the early 1980s.
That's tougher.
You watch the film.
Early coastal town in the 1980s. One more time, read it through.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a drama about the power of human connection during turbulent times in an English coastal town in the early 1980s.
Is it Belfast?
It is not. It is Empire of Light.
Oh, yeah.
The 2022 release. That was kind of talked about a lot last year.
Yeah,
We finally got around to it. Not so hot, 62%.
Sure. Roger Deakins, cinematographer. That's why I watched it.
Apologies to Roger.
Sorry, Raj.
Empire of Light, 62%. By the way, After Sun got a 48, and The Hill got a 41. Okay, let's keep it going. We have a young woman with a wonderful fiancé, a blossoming career, and supportive family and friends finds her world crumbling in the blink of an eye when she survives an unimaginable tragedy. In the following year, she forms an unlikely friendship that gives her a fighting chance to put her life back together and move forward.
Oh,
That's like a whole damn paragraph.
You lose me on these dramas, though, because
Hey.
I really have to think about like the arc of these dramas.
That was the most words, I will say.
It was the most words. Didn't say the most. Damn it.
Name that movie, Vincent Daly.
Oh, no. I don't have even a guess.
Doesn't even have a guess. This is 2023's a new release, A Good Person.
Oh, God.
What's that, directed by Zach Braff or
Yes.
something like that?
Yeah.
And by the way, your girl, Pew.
Yeah.
Right?
Forrest Pugh was in it. Yeah.
And what do we say? Who's the big actor in it then? Who's Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
Wow, that came and went.
That really
A Good
did.
Person. You gave it 63%.
Yeah.
That was in this realm of family dramas coming out. Remember that?
yes.
You had like a 6-month period of that.
Yep.
All right, our last film here for Name That Movie, we have a couple of influencers are invited to a luxury cruise ship alongside a group of out-of-touch wealthy people. The situation takes an unexpected turn when a brutal storm hits the ship. Vincent Daly.
Name that movie.
This is Triangle of
Oh,
Sadness.
okay, all right.
I
I mean, how many movies have we covered covering a ship? For Christ's sake. But okay, Triangle Sadness, yeah, kind of came and went.
Yeah, I think it will be maybe remembered. It also has what's
won't
his face
be.
from
Woody Harrelson is in it.
No, but it has the guy from Iron Claw that I mentioned.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That was a 2022 release. A lot of people watched it in 2023.
Yep.
61%. All right, Vin, thanks so much for playing Name That Movie. You did pretty well.
4 out of 6.
4 out of 6.
not
Very,
bad.
very good.
I wasn't expecting any.
So thank you for playing the game. But now, the reason why we did this whole game, we needed that to introduce us into the next award, which is the classic we're bringing over from last year. This is the Houdini Award.
Houdini.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the Tom Dailies, the Houdini Award goes to the film that could disappear and no one would notice, let alone care. And on these categories, or these films I put here, are Sharper, A Good Person, The Hill, After Sun, Empire of Light, and Triangle of Sadness.
Wow, I love that this was the lead-in to this. I think it has to be A Good Person because I genuinely forgot about it.
So, honorable mention, 47 Ronin.
yeah, for real, because that was scary. I thought I had an Alzheimer's scare.
The problem-
when you
I
said 47 Ronin.
I like playing the game, Name That Movie. The problem is when I have to combine it with Houdini,
Yeah.
sometimes the descriptions are so obvious
Sure.
that it's tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, A Good Person.
Yeah.
You gave it 63%, but deserves the Houdini Award
I will
for
be
the most forgettable,
Yeah,
essentially.
I won't be returning to Zach Braff anytime soon.
Okay, all right, let's keep on going. We're going to do some other carryovers from last year. This is the Sweet Smell of Success Award.
Ah, yes.
And this is for the movie that this film didn't need to perform the best, but it was the most surprising. Again, folks, if you're new, last year, Vin covered The Sweet Smell of Success, which was a film out of the 1950s,
Yep.
doomed for failure. Vin watched it, was absolutely taken aback by it, loved
yeah.
it so much, gave it an 87%. That's in the must-watches for the daily
Yep,
ratings.
yep.
87%, you just don't hit that much.
Yep.
So Sweet Smell of Success, the most surprising film. We have If Beale Street Could Talk with an 86. The Man Who Shot Liberty well, let me just say, If Beale Street Could Talk, because it kind of seems like that kind of came and went a little bit. And it was talked about in the Times, but a 2018 film.
Yeah.
I forgot it existed, and you watched it. 86% you gave it. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. 1, because it's a Western. 2, because it's John Wayne, and usually that doesn't mean you're getting out of the 60s or 70s. Let's be honest. You gave The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance an 84%.
Yeah.
Vin. In the Mood for Love, you gave an 82%.
Yes.
In the Mood for Love was our first dip in the podcast, really, for dipping ourselves, for getting into kind of Chinese films,
Yep.
or at least
Hong
Hong Kong
Kong's-
directors.
Yep.
82%, also one of the very few pure, true romance films we have
yes.
ever covered.
Absolutely.
You gave it an 82% in the Mood for Love. That is critically praised, that film, but still, 82 is very good. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Everyone knows the name. Everyone knows it's a big film. You
yep.
gave it an 87%. And when we were drifting, when we were doing who's the writer?
John Hughes.
When we were floating around in a John Hughes study, that
Yep.
was ending up in like the mid-60s.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
kind of losing traction.
Right.
John Hughes struck with Ferris Bueller's Day Off at an 87.
It really felt like the pinnacle as well. Everything we were building towards with that writing study.
Yes, yeah, definitely. We have Magic Mike, the first one. Magic Mike, you covered in the Magic Mike episode. You gave a 71%. You were shocked with how much you loved Magic Mike. Next one on the list, we covered it before, Evil Dead Rise. It won Best Horror. It's a 79%. Again, a franchise you didn't love, and another movie no one was asking for, you especially in the franchise. Yet Evil Dead Rise comes up, you loved it, you gave it 79%. And lastly, The Holdovers. Sure, Alexander Payne, the director, has a lot of respect among people, comes
Yep.
out with a film here or there. He can be weird at times. He's
Yep.
always a little bit smaller based, a little bit more indie based.
We even covered Sideways, so
Right.
we were like first diving into Alexander Payne.
No one was unbelievably anticipating this film.
Right.
You even thought the trailer looked a little bit weird, and the trailer
definitely
was shot
did.
a little bit funny.
Yeah.
But The Holdovers came, and then you gave it an 82%. Of course, we talked about it a lot tonight. So,
Yep.
the Sweet Smell of Success Award, The Holdovers, Evil Dead Rise, Magic Mike, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, In the Mood for Love, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and If Beale Street Could Talk.
Ooh, wow. Well, I let me just say, I would love to give it to Magic Mike because
I know you would. I know.
multiple people in my life said that, oh, you're going to like Magic Mike 1. I go, no way.
Doomed for the 30s.
Yeah,
Let's say doomed for the 30s.
Right. And that special, or not special, that episode that we did, folks, if you haven't listened to it, don't let Magic Mike scare you away. I think that is one of the most fun times I've had in covering these movies, which were like not either of our demographics in the slightest, but it was Magic Mike 1 won me over in the sense that holy shit, I actually care about this male stripper and what happens to him. Like what?
Yeah.
I think I want to give it to Holdovers though. Really, it probably should go to Beale Street Could Talk. But I knew I was probably going to like Beale Street Could Talk.
Big director.
Right, going into it. But if the Sweet Smell of Success is about anything, it's about the surprise, and I think Holdovers was the surprise. It won me over with its feel good.
Damn. Okay. Holdovers win again for the Sweet
yeah.
Smell of Success Award, 82%. It did surprise the hell out of you.
Yeah.
I mean,
where Beale Street, better movie, but I kind of knew it had Oscar buzz. I loved the soundtrack already. I was kind of anticipating
the director
a good
coming
time.
off of Moonlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so next on the list, folks, we have The Cane Mutiny. It is the alter ego of The Sweet Smell of Success. And this because, sure, it was shot in the 50s, but Vin heard so many good things about The Cane Mutiny. And it came, and sure enough, it ended up in the 30 percentile. I forget
39.
39.
39 will always be the Cane Mutiny score.
And so this Cane Mutiny, it's not necessarily for the worst film of the year, but it's the most disappointing. And that's where this comes in. We have Napoleon with a 49%.
I got it right there.
The reason why, just like your fear for killers was flipped on its head,
Yep.
you were scared for killers, you were nervous for it, but it won Best Picture.
Yep.
We have Napoleon coming in from Ridley Scott being absolutely trash.
the continual slippery slope for
Gave
Ridley
it a
Scott.
49%. Next on the Cane Mutiny, The Exorcist Believer. We were scared for it. You weren't even looking forward to it. However, a 29% is really bad.
Yeah.
We have
real quick note with Exorcist Believer.
Please.
I feel like retrospectively, if I did a full Exorcist episode,
Oh, you would hate it more.
Yeah, I would have hated it more. I really would.
Thank God we didn't.
Yeah.
Outlaw Johnny Black. If people don't know this film, it was a smaller, low-budget film, not in theaters, not in a lot of theaters.
Yep.
But this was coming off of the lead. What's the lead actor's name? I forget.
Oh, I forget.
Something
too.
Jay White? Jai White?
Yeah, Michael J. White. Yeah.
Michael Jai White.
Yep.
So he was the star in a film that we love, which which is Black Dynamite.
Yes, and this was a spiritual successor to Black Dynamite.
And now he's writing, directing, looks just as cool. You thought he was good. Outlaw Johnny Black, you were looking very much forward to it. You gave it a 36%.
Yeah.
Also on the Kane Mutiny is 47 Ronin. The reason why is Vin loves Japanese lore, loves Japanese samurai. It's got John Wick in it.
Right.
But 47 Ronin, unfortunately, got a 26.
Wow.
We have Magic Mike Double XL with a 26%. Because after Magic Mike surprised everybody with a 71, how could they get the character so wrong that they built up in one?
Oh my God!
And
how could they
crush it in two?
Right? How could they take a character that I actually cared about, and the sequel is let's go to the stripper convention?
Right. He gave Magic Mike Double XL 26. And lastly on the list was Godzilla Final Wars.
Oof.
In our Godzilla special, this came out, I believe, in 2004.
Yeah, it's the last before the new age of Godzilla.
And this is what the fans and for our Godzilla special, if you want to tackle it, it's a beast in its own right. But go ahead and listen. Godzilla Final Wars was supposed to be a good film. Vin was somewhat looking forward to it because the fans love this film. They love all the kaiju in it. They love all the lore coming back into it. They thought maybe it was going to be the best performing Godzilla film. And for Vin, it was an 8%. It was not only the worst performing Godzilla film.
Oh, yeah.
It was the worst performing film of all year.
Yeah.
And in fact, podcast, even pre-podcast, I believe it's the second worst film ever on the daily ratings. Godzilla Final Wars with an 8%. So, Kane Mutiny, Magic Mike Double XL, 47 Ronin, Godzilla Final Wars, Outlaw Johnny Black, The Exorcist Believer, or Napoleon.
I think it's a tie between Napoleon and Outlaw Johnny Black.
Okay.
I'm going to give
films.
it to...
Go new films.
Yeah, I'm going to go new film. Believe me, the Final Wars, as soon as I saw the first creeping CGI and the Power Rangers level production, I mean, I knew that was like real bad. I'm actually working on a special now that has a real bad one as well. So, let me say, though, Napoleon was disappointing because I really was looking forward to the concept of a Napoleon biopic, to the point that fueled me seeking out Waterloo and watching Waterloo, right? But I think it goes to Outlaw Johnny Black because, boy, let me tell you, I love Black Dynamite. I think it is one of the best comedies. It is so consistently out loud, laughing funny, and Outlaw Johnny Black just had none of the magic. You said it was too long. It was almost too boring. The punch wasn't there. You had to drive it. Drove an hour each way. Between that and Blue Giant, which I also drove to the same theater for.
Right.
Let me tell you. No.
All right, so the Kane Mutiny goes to Outlaw Johnny Black. We should just note that last year, of course, we named them after Kane Mutiny and Sweet Smell of Success, so they kind of win. But I believe Sweet Smell of Success went to, did it go to Moby Dick? Because I think he gave Moby Dick a 50s movie, gave it an 87.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Kane Mutiny, I'm sorry, no, Sweet Smell of Success went to, I believe, the Cook movie with M.
The Menu.
The Menu.
Yes.
I think you wanted to stick it to 2023. That's right.
Both very good.
And then the Kane Mutiny went to...
I actually just posted this.
Oh, wow, did you?
I actually just posted this. I think it went to... Oh, no, maybe this was the Houdini Award.
That was a Houdini that you posted.
Yeah.
Look, listen to last year's episode. But
yeah, I guess we need to.
Okay, all right, so... Now, these next 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 more awards for you.
Wow.
Ben. These are the secret awards that I compiled. These are true Tom Dailies. They have just as much punch. They're just as real.
Okay.
Vin doesn't know what these awards are, correct? You have not
in
been
the
privy?
Dark,
okay.
100%.
So we got with the old stuff. Now, in with the new. We have All the Room in the World Award for the primarily single location film that best uses its small set that it was stuck in.
Ooh.
These are all 2023, by the way.
Wow.
So this is Inside with Willem Dafoe stuck in a New York apartment, essentially.
Absolutely.
We have Nefarious that's primarily stuck inside a jail.
Prison cell.
We have Leave the World Behind that takes place pretty much in a house or on the grounds of a house, primarily. Skinamarink, which absolutely takes place inside of a house.
Arguably one hallway.
Right. Okay. And we have missing, taking place inside of a phone or a computer in a house.
Well, it can't be Skinamarink or Missing because it's just bad movies.
Okay.
I got to give it to Inside. Inside was is the only thing missing from all of the honorable mentions that we talked about.
Yep.
And the
It wasn't our top 5 when we did
Yeah.
our top 5 films.
Yeah.
I messed up on that. I was going to open with this too. I messed up on that podcast. The intro to the podcast, I say we could have had 7 films on there because Inside was tied with Barbie and at the time Suzume. We didn't do Ferrari yet.
Okay.
That's a lie because Barbie and Suzume has an 80. Inside has an 81. Inside was the true 5th best film of the year.
Yeah.
And we didn't talk about it much this episode, but yeah, Willem Dafoe. Just Willem Dafoe,
Yeah.
stuck inside of an apartment.
Right, and was so for me. It was such an inventive film and how it presented its tension and its if you will, survival aspects to it. You know, it's kind of like Castaway in a penthouse, which I know maybe doesn't sound great.
It's what you said in the review.
Yeah.
And it's so that.
Yeah.
I watched it later in the year as well. Loved it.
Yeah.
Really, really liked the film.
That's great.
Okay, so All the Room in the World award goes to Inside.
That's great.
Okay, next we have The Better Side of a Coin, or a Coin Toss award.
I love these names.
I was really struggling with this name, and I had like 3 different variations.
Okay.
And there's 2 awards in this one award. So Better Side of a Coin award, Vin.
Okay.
Out of all of the animated films, you rated something like 23 animated films this year. 4 of them got a 72%.
No way.
You're going to hate this award. So you now need to pick which one is best.
Out of the 72.
We have Transformers, the original, with a 72. Puss in Boots, The Boy and the Heron, and Rango, all with
All
a
72.
72%.
Wow. I
Flip a
did
coin,
Miyazaki-
who gets the better side?
I'll say I did Miyazaki dirty, placing that next to Rango, Boy in the Heron next to Rango. I don't know if I can face the fella, though. I definitely... go through them one more time?
Okay, Transformers. And that's the,
The OG.
the
Oh, it goes
1980,
to
81.
Transformers.
Well, Puss in Boots, we liked.
Nah, Transformers is a movie I was ecstatic with. I wanted to give Transformers the movie such a higher score than 72, but I was like, in no way can I defend this movie more than a 72. I really love that movie. That movie was excitement manifest. Like,
Okay.
That was like a... Man,
was
such a
something else.
good cartoon. Like, it's so good.
All right, so the better side of a coin for the 72 percentiles is Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Great soundtrack, too. Tom got it for me
God.
on vinyl, so.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so sticking with the same better side of a coin award,
Yeah.
and this is really the inception of where this idea came from. Especially with the coin flip. We always say the coveted 50% on the daily rating can be a coin flip. It's where do you put this review? It can absolutely hit for some people. It's not going to hit for some. Also, it was just not hitting on enough marks. It's not that good of a film.
Right.
Too difficult.
I don't want to defend it in ways.
Too bad to say it's good. Too good to say it's bad.
Yeah.
And in 2023, you gave 3 films of 50%.
All right.
You got to flip that coin and tell us which one
Wow.
wins. We have Elemental, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and Five Nights at Freddy's. All got 50%. Vin, which one's the best film?
Holy smokes. I think they're all 50% on the dot?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I was kind of hoping Beau is Afraid was in there, but I forget where
Close.
I put
It's
that.
close, but not quite there.
I would say probably Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Gets the better side of the coin?
I think so. Just because it had
Wow.
amazing monster design, like the
Wow.
Dracula creature it's
cool.
really cool.
I thought you were going Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, wow.
I think I defended that film enough.
Last Voyage of the Demeter, even though they all get 50, wins the better side of the coin award. Excellent, Vin. Okay, this next one is the General Anesthetic Award for the film that will most likely or most quickly put you to sleep.
That's awesome. This is my favorite new award category. This got to stay for next year.
These are all 2023 films. We have Nefarious, that you gave a 24%. 65, that you gave a 30. I gave a 0 shoe, by the way.
Yeah.
Skinamarink with a 45. Wish with a 52 for being so ungodly generic. The Hill with a 41% for being ungodly forgettable. And Insidious, The Red Door for just being awful, and another Insidious film.
More Patrick Wilson.
The General Anesthetic Award for the film that will most likely or will most quickly put you to sleep.
For the scope of the award,
Yeah.
I got to give it to Skinamarink because that movie will
Wow.
put you to sleep if
Okay.
you are not like engaged with like the implied horror.
Right,
of
right,
it,
right.
That movie is literally silent. So,
You said people left, but you said people were angry at the end too.
with Skinamarink, yeah, I feel like it was.
People were waiting for something.
Right, exactly.
And
It
then
was distinctly unsatisfying.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So the General Anesthetic Award goes to Skinamarink. We talk bad about that film,
And we talk
but
good.
talk good about that film.
Yeah.
Like the director. Hopefully he's got a future.
I really that's one that I really hope for a good follow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I knew I was going to surprise you by putting him on the Keep an Eye Out Award.
Yes, yes.
Okay, folks. Okay, buckle in. We're getting internationally here, folks. This next award goes to the Il Film Causato Milia e Italia Award.
Oh, paisan!
Okay, this film, the Film Causato Mielo e Italia Award, is for the film that best used or utilized Italy as a filming location. These are all
Did I have
because
that many?
So, folks, if you're not too familiar with the podcast, because we're talking a lot here. So, people love shooting film in Atlanta. People love shooting film in Toronto.
Right,
but if you're going overseas, apparently the new hot spot is Italy.
Yeah.
Vin and I are convinced it's for tax purposes. But 2023 hosted a lot of films shot in Italy. So
New spaghetti westerns.
again, it might not be the best film. It
Yeah.
could be a bad film, but it's what best used or utilized Italy as a filming location. This is Equalizer 3.
Oh, God.
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol Part 1.
Right.
Ferrari, of course.
Yep.
A Haunting in Venice. Fast X.
Yep.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And The Marvels. The Il Films Causato Miglio e Italia Award goes to.
Wow, that's amazing. Is it wrong that I want to give it to Fast X?
That's very wrong. It's very wrong. You don't go Italy. You don't go Ferrari.
He's a bowling ball in the Vatican. His big bowling ball. No, obviously goes to Ferrari.
Okay, all right. Okay, goes to Ferrari. Can you remember how much we were talking about that all year? It's like, wow, this one's shot in Italy. This
It's
one's-
true, that's
I
a
had
good
I had to
callback.
highlight this.
That's a great callback.
It's 7 films.
Yeah.
What is the Marvels doing needing Italy? That's what I'm saying. Tax purposes. It's about the taxes, folks.
It's all about the taxes.
Okay, and then we only have one more
Okay.
Tom Daly Award here
All right,
that I'm
here
going
we
to
go.
surprise you with. And I thought we'd end on something nice.
Yeah, all right.
This is the 3 of a Kind Award.
All right.
Okay, for the trio-centered film that has the best acted or the most enjoyable trio on screen. Obviously, film is always going to center on either one person or a duo, a couple, a friendship, yada, yada. Something about 2023, the more I went over these films, and actually through the year, I was kind of prepping this award, there were some beautiful trios on screen.
Yeah.
And I wanted to highlight that. So, the 3 of a Kind Award, again, all 2023 films. The Holdovers, featuring Paul Giamatti, Dominic Sessa, and Divine Joy Randolph.
Yep, definitely a trio.
May-December with Julianne Moore, Natalie Portman, and Charles Melton.
Oh, true.
Past Lives with Greta Lee and T.O.U. and the American fling, John Magaro.
That can't be the win just because it's so awkward as a trio. I mean, skin crawled.
The Marvels, which the only thing that you enjoyed was the trio of Brie Larson, Teyana Paris, and Iman Vellani.
That's a good point.
Blue Giant with Shitaro,
Oh, boy.
Mamiya, Amane Akiyama, and Yuki Yamada.
You did phenomenal.
Thank
phenomenal.
you. Blue Giant, even though it's animated, those 3
It
were
is-
the film, the
yeah.
entire
And it's also
film.
the jazz trio as well.
And lastly, They Cloned Tyrone with John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and once again, Teyona Paris, who was also in The Marvels.
Yeah.
But I thought this was good, and I'm sure you could find more
Yeah.
in this year. You could probably wedge Iron Claw in there or something like that.
Definitely true.
But I
Yeah.
thought because of the father and the other brother.
Yeah.
3 of a Kind Award. The Holdovers, May-December, Past Lives, The Marvels, Blue Giant, They Cloned Tyrone for the trio-centered film that has the best acted and or most enjoyable trio on screen.
Wow. Well, I love this award.
Yeah, that's why it's last.
Yeah, it's really good.
Honorable
Believe
mentions?
Believe it or not, I feel like it's a tie between Holdovers, which is just
Of
a
course.
favorite as far as the year. But this is an area where May-December can actually shine. Because
Wow,
I feel
okay,
like
okay.
the dynamic of Natalie Portman researching the woman and then that uncovering the mess of the relationship
Right.
with the guy. I'm sorry, I don't forget the
Charles
actors.
Melton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who you liked. You thought
yes.
was maybe the strongest of the three.
Oh,
and we had
without
talked about that
a
earlier.
doubt.
Yeah.
Let me say that. Without a doubt,
Yeah.
stronger than both of those actresses.
Okay.
Here. Yeah, I think I might want to give it to May December, but I think it's I think it's all over. Sorry, I'm kidding. There's actual enjoyment, and then there's like conceptual,
Right.
praise.
Okay, so the holdovers for the Three of a Kind award. I thought you might have played even with They Clone Tyrone.
Oh, yeah, I think that's
it was
a
an extras release.
Yeah.
Came and went, but you love those three on
Yes.
screen with that story.
I love the Jamie Foxx shout out earlier as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like, absolutely, he was so entertaining.
Okay, all right. So that's pretty much it for the Tom Dailies. We only have one more, which is actually maybe two more. But the Three of a Kind award goes to the holdovers. Okay. What do you think of the new awards?
I love them.
Okay.
I said this last year. My favorite part of these awards are your like,
The surprises.
right? Because
Go ahead.
it's just you're able to like capture like what actually maybe matters on some of these other ones that like they're not going to be in the top runnings of the year,
Right.
but like they're all interesting in some way.
And through lines. Oftentimes, like last year, you kept on touching on things. You kept on touching on films that had no idea what they were doing or thought that they did but didn't.
Right,
You know, so I at least that's the one thing that I can say that I do on the podcast here is I'm the person in the car listening. I'm
Yeah.
the person who I'm focused in every week and I
Sure.
can kind of get those things. You were so 246 films. One, you got to watch them. You got to do notes. I can pick up on maybe those through lines.
Yes,
And just bring those older films
absolutely.
back into life.
Absolutely.
Do you like the idea of keeping some old awards going? The Houdini Awards, Sweet Smelling Success, and K Mutiny.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Those are
Those are the
evergreen.
stalwarts.
Those are legacy awards. Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
gotcha. Okay, the only other two, like I said, basically are the Golden Laces and then the daily. You need to give. What do we call yours?
Daily Recognition,
The
I think, was the working title.
Well, that okay. Did I combine those? Because I tried to do a daily Because I brought up daily recognition for.
Oh no, we did up and coming. Well, promising around the corner, whatever it was.
Oh my god, yeah. So I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah.
So the daily recognition was your Golden Laces, and then I kind of hijacked that, and I said, for things that need more than just an honorable mention, we should give the daily recognition.
Right.
I retract that.
Okay.
Is there a film that you wanted to highlight? Do you have a daily recognition award that you would like to give out?
More so like if the daily recognition is a personal fave.
Correct.
Much like the Golden Laces is a personal fave.
Yes.
This is where I was really questioning actually Best Director.
Oh, wow.
I want to give it to something that obviously maybe some, fellow critics, more snobbish kind of movie fans will kind of raise their nose at and say, oh, no, that's not cinema. It's John Wick 4. I think
Wow.
John Wick 4 was...
Wow. Okay. John Wick 4 gets the official
daily recognition.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. I thought maybe you were going to go Eileen after all the Eileen talk.
Definitely up there, but John Wick 4 was just, you got to understand, you listen to those early episodes of the podcast, quality, maybe a little shoddy aside. I'm always mentioning John Wick in having to be a shorthand
so
for
true.
talking about good action or fight choreography or how you build a reveal for a character. And while John Wick 4 was not what John Wick was for me, and as an appreciator of movies and lover of movies and lover of action, John Wick 4 was just it brought it home. It brought it home for pre-podcast, something that was already a meme between you and I, and just so satisfying, So that gets the John Wick 4 is I love in a way that I'm willing to fight anyone on, much like Crimes of the Future was last year. So
Excellent. John Wick 4 gets a daily recognition.
Yep.
And that and Crimes of the Future, the fact that those are the two so far, I love that. Because don't forget about Crimes of the Future.
People forgot. People want to black that out.
Excellent, Ben.
All right, so what's the Golden Laces?
All right, so now
let me say this much. You have stepped up your movie reviewing so much this year.
Oh, thank you. Ben.
You have started taking notes. You have started to...
I feel like I really I feel like I go down rabbit holes and tangents and I kind of destroy the podcast when I talk.
No, not at all. But when it comes down to it, it's like I feel like the Golden Laces is important because it is, it's the recognition for something that worked for you, but doesn't maybe work for a critic. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
You're the audience score. In this type of.
Oh well, I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is purely kind of 100% my award,
Yes,
essentially.
right.
So, folks, the Golden Laces Award is what I give out. It's not necessarily the best film, but it's the film that I think one is probably really good, and it doesn't need to be a film, but it's more so. What deserves an extra slap on the back and a kind of you to man? You know what I mean? Like, it's another reminder.
It's called the You Demand Award now.
It's another reminder of don't forget about this film or this person.
Oh, sure.
It's a thing of, again, it might not be the best of the year in whatever category, but it's something that deserves that extra recognition, much like a daily recognition, and something that I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
But notably, as we enter into 2024, don't forget about this, or this is what I came away with loving. Last year went to The Batman.
Oh,
because
yeah,
I
yeah.
felt The Batman. Sure, you gave it a good score. I had watched it after the podcast. I liked that movie so much. Sure, my favorite was All Quiet on the Western Front. It
Sure.
got an incredible shoe rating.
Yep.
But the Batman, I just felt needed that extra slap on the back, an extra hey, don't forget about this type of deal.
Yep.
So I have 2 honorable mentions and then a winner, of course. So the Golden Laces honorable mention goes to Jason Schwartzman for his performance in Asteroid City.
Yeah.
I never liked Jason Schwartzman.
Really?
I actively didn't like him.
Okay.
Like, it's not that I
It was
wasn't-
annoying.
Right.
Like,
It was
his shtick.
annoyance. And after watching his performance in Asteroid City, I loved his look. I liked the way he delivered lines. I thought him as a believable character. I thought he did a very, very good job at that
Yeah,
performance.
absolutely.
I really enjoyed Jason Schwartzman in Asteroid City.
He's also had a pretty big year as well. He was the villain in Across the Spider-Verse. He was the spy.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So another runner-up, and at first I thought the winner was obvious, but it was this scenario where I looked at these two, and it was much closer than I thought. But this is still the runner-up. Once again, not a movie, but goes to Robbie Robertson.
Oh, yeah. That's
Robbie
great.
Robertson, who was a leading member of the band in The Band. And Vin and I have a personal connection with the guy. We love the band. It's very important to us personally,
Yep.
but also in movies. Robbie Robertson was huge and had a massive influence on Martin Scorsese. And it's just because we're a movie podcast and Killers of the Flower Moon came out this year. Robbie died this year.
Oh, yes,
But
unfortunately.
he finished in full his work that he did for Killers of the Flower Moon. I just wanted to mention his name again. I don't want him to be forgotten in film or in general.
Absolutely.
When it comes to his work in the band. He was also born on a reservation as a kid in Canada.
Right.
And I do have there was a private concert, tribute concert to Robbie Robertson in California, and Scorsese spoke at it.
Oh,
and I
really?
took some words from him and an article that was written about it. Is it okay if I read it a little bit?
Sure.
Again, just
I
as
love that.
a little bit of a remembrance of Robbie Robertson, at least as film goes.
Yeah.
So, Scorsese first met Robertson during a concert documentary film, The Last Waltz, in 1976. The duo collaborated for decades after, with Robertson serving as a music producer and composer on films like The King of Comedy, Silence, The Aviator, The Wolf of Wall Street, and most recently, Killers of the Flower Moon. On talking about when real collaboration started, Martin Scorsese talked about the making of Raging Bull. Quote, "We kept working together for the next 45 years. 45 years of mutual education, 45 years of me discussing the films I was making, the individual scenes. I tried to express the atmosphere, the tone, trying to create the music that would complete my vision of that world and what I needed. And as we talked, these words became the music on Raging Bull, the soundtrack of the world that I grew up in," Scorsese said. He called The Color of Money the turning point in 1985 of his friendship with Robertson, with the musician bringing in recording artists like Don Henley, Robert Palmer, Eric Clapton to produce songs for the film. Later in his career, Scorsese said, "I scored Casino in 1995 with pre-recorded music that needed to be constant. It had 3 hours of wall-to-wall pre-recorded music, and Robbie walks by and he says, 'Listen to me, this is it.' And it was the theme to Camille by Georges Delerue. Robbie said, 'Remember this piece?' And that simple suggestion opened me up to a whole new set of possibilities. I can use music from other films and score it in my movie. Why not? I didn't have to be limited in my choices. He broke barriers for me and took away all these old limitations. Robertson also left his creative mark with specific needle drops on films like The Aviator and The Wolf of Wall Street. Scorsese recalled he wanted The Aviator to end with Leonardo DiCaprio's character looking into the mirror and seeing the American future with the right song playing. Quote, I needed something to express it, but nothing felt quite right. I was really stuck. And then, after a screening, Robbie walks by sort of like a ghost. He turned to me and just said, don't forget, Moonlight Serenade. And so I tried it, and it worked. Scorsese said that one of Robertson's greatest achievements was crafting The Sound of Silence in his 2016 film of the same name. It was a major challenge because we were trying to find what sounds like silence. It's very difficult, says Scorsese. But we were friends. I feel friendship is private. It's trust. Sometimes it's forgiveness and it's love. But sometimes silence suffices. Silence can be enough. And that's another thing about this guy. As much as Robbie's words had eloquence, his silences were just as eloquent. It was a little unnerving at first when I got to meet him. Just sitting there looking, I had to think about those silences. And finally, Scorsese added that Robertson's last collaboration with him for Killers of the Flower Moon was one of the most beautiful scores ever written for film. Quote, his music is the beating heart of the picture. He said he called it the pulse. He always had to pay off on a punchline, a great conclusion, Scorsese recalled. He was a storyteller, not a raconteur. A real storyteller went much deeper than a raconteur. He held you within the rhythm of his words and his pauses, and it all became music later. Ultimately, everything is music, and it gave me a deeper understanding of gravity and the great human tradition that he somehow was born into. End quote.
Wow.
So I hope that wasn't too long.
No,
I
phenomenal.
know it was a little long. But.
And also, I mean, in lieu of a, remember who has passed this year,
right.
Robbie. I mean that he's a big person in both of our lives. So I think that's wonderful, Tom.
I think it's going to be forgotten about. So just for this year, I know it's long. I just wanted to read it.
That's wonderful.
And people can go back to it. And he's done a lot more than just film.
Yes.
But since it's a movie podcast, it's Martin Scorsese coming out with Killers of the Flower Moon.
And I really didn't know how involved he was, even in
so many pictures.
Let's say he's not part of the normal project or the official project.
Right. Marty would go to him.
Yeah. Confidant.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
exactly.
wow.
So. Doesn't win the Golden Laces Award. Love you, Robbie. We're moving on. The Golden Laces. I didn't talk much about this film after I saw it.
Okay.
I didn't see it for the podcast. I saw it after.
Okay.
But it's a 2023 film. I did manage to watch it in the movies. And halfway through the film, I knew it was obvious to me. It stuck out like a shining beam. This is getting the Golden Laces. This is a beautiful movie, a phenomenal movie, a real movie, which sounds crazy, but I swear, watch this film and turn off the lights, get engaged, turn it up, and this film feels like a movie. When you watch a film going back in the 90s, 80s, the 70s, or the 60s, when you turn it off and say, that was a great movie, this gets that feeling down. It's so good.
Okay.
And it is, no surprising at this point, The Holdovers.
There it is. Wow.
I mean, we didn't talk about it much. I did tell you, like, weeks later after I saw it. I friggin' loved.
That's great.
Like, was in love with this movie. I don't know if it is the best picture of the film, like of the year. I might have to go Oppenheimer, Killers, or something like that.
Right.
I think I liked Oppenheimer a little bit better than Killers, but The Holdovers easily gets the Golden Laces. It's showing up in the mail tomorrow, folks. It's an amazing movie.
That's great. Yeah.
And you know what I mean by it feels like a movie?
Absolutely. And I feel like it's as far as the job of recommending movies, The Holdovers is such a not inoffensive. That's almost like a backhanded compliment.
Right.
It is really for everyone. I feel it tells a human story. It tells a story of loneliness, and I absolutely agree. I think
and
that's
there's
a
no
wonderful
frills.
pick.
It doesn't try to be more than the story.
Yeah.
Like Zach Braff wish he could make this movie.
Oh my God! Right.
You know what I mean?
I really any of these kind of emotional dramas wish they could achieve the genuine feel of the Holdovers.
Exactly right. So yeah, The Holdovers, and I feel so bad. I was talking to producer Sean after I watched it. I was like, "Oh, we loved it. You got to watch it." And he goes, "I don't have to watch it in the theater though. I can just watch it when I'm at home."
Right.
And my initial thing that I told him, I was just like, "Oh yeah, you can. It's a movie you can watch at home. Watch at home." And now, just think about it more and more. Man, I wish I could go back in the theater and watch it.
Sure,
Because
yeah.
it felt like that movie.
Absolutely.
But,
I think that's great.
That's all I got.
That's all I got. Wonderful segment. And again, fantastic, Tom, with the in memoriam for Robbie Robertson, our version of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was just a remembrance and in memoriam because he's gone now and he's going to be forgotten.
Yeah, right. Much like the band. I mean, who knows the band
exactly?
anymore, you know.
And the only comment that I could think of that when I was putting together that piece was basically, how people say that like there's a comics comic, the one that the people don't really love, but the comic that other comics really love.
Yep.
Robbie Robertson was a musician's musician.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows Eric Clapton was one of the best.
Yep.
Who does Eric Clapton say was one of the best? Who does Eric Clapton love? Is Robbie Robertson.
Absolutely. And it goes back to their studio days as well.
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Still didn't get the golden laces. Goes to the holdovers. And Jason Schwartzman reading up in the rear. Okay, Vin. All right. So this is our longest episode ever.
I could imagine.
But I think this is good.
Yeah.
People can skip around wherever the hell they want.
Right.
Folks, that goes on. That's it for the Tom Daly Awards. You can always come back to this, listen. I might throw it in the newsletter or in the future. I don't know. Put something together where it's there. People can go back to.
Yep.
That was great, Vin. I love your picks. Love the back and forth.
I love your picks.
Yeah.
And again, these dynamite categories. I love the surprise categories more than the real categories. That's how much.
What was your favorite surprise category?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly, it's probably Kane Mutiny once again because
really?
the sting of Kane Mutiny is ever present. It's such a shorthand for me not to talk about.
It's very funny. Okay, folks. So basically, just our final segment of the podcast here, kind of block C, if we were doing in blocks. Or block 3 is we want to talk about 2024 and what's coming up in films a little bit.
Yeah.
I have a whole list out a little bit where we could talk of what you're excited for.
Yeah.
Not excited for, Vin. Any standouts, though, as far as you're concerned, for the year 2024 in film?
I think it's Dune 2, just because I'm also excited to see if it's going to be a part 3. I don't know. I have tried to stay away from a lot of the production talk because I feel like there are spoilers even in who's being casted as what and my kind of approximate knowledge of the Dune universe.
Right. There's certainly enough books to keep the franchise going.
Right, yeah. Dune 2 and I know we're kind of on opposite ends of this. I do.
I know exactly what you're
I'm a
gonna
little
say.
excited for Furiosa.
Yeah, I knew.
Just because, I think it's going to be Fury Road level? No. Am I very concerned over Chris Evans? Yes. Okay. But I don't know. I think not Anna de Armas.
Anna Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor-Joy. She looks badass in it. I love the Mad Max.
I'm not excited.
Universe. That's so crazy.
The universe.
Way back when you
everything. Of Furiosa?
Silence.
Of Furiosa? I mean,
when that was first announced, and I feel like
I
when
wanted
you thought
my
it was
girl
Charlize,
to be in it.
Right,
Charlize is my girl.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. Been following her for years.
Please.
And she was so good. I mean, that's the thing. Mad Max Fury Road was so good.
Yes.
And I think doing this, I don't think Anya Taylor-Joy can hold a candle to what happened in that film.
Interesting.
And it might not all be her fault.
Well, I'm hoping that's where the racing, the Mad Max madness.
I hope.
I'm hoping that's where it holds up.
But you watched the trailer and were like, we're excited. I watched the trailer and I was like, oh my God.
It's so funny. I was talking to other people about it. They were like, you thought that was good?
Okay, all right.
I was like, all right, I guess I got to watch it again.
Might be a daily recognition for 2024.
Right.
Okay, so Dune Part 2 and Furiosa, Mad Max the Saga.
All right, you run down the list.
So I have a bunch listed here. I'm way more excited than 2023.
Okay.
And again, I wanted to just go through stuff. One, to maybe spark some other people's, a lot of this stuff isn't in the headlines yet, so you're not sure about it.
Right,
but I think a lot of these might hit for some people.
Yep.
And for us too, because God knows you watched 89 this past year. You're probably going to be right around 90 next year. So you got to be excited for something. Yeah. I'll go in chronological order of when they're coming out.
Okay.
We actually do have some in the early of the year.
Yeah, nice.
Because almost every week something is coming out that maybe we can be excited for. So the week of January 19th, Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell. And this is getting a theater release. I don't know if it was technically 2022, but it's getting a proper release in 2023.
Okay.
It's getting extremely good reviews. This is a Vietnam story. It's a first-time director, and apparently it looks amazing.
Wow, okay.
And it's set in Vietnam.
And that's
it's
the
just
17th
beautiful.
of January.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So it's coming up. But Inside the Yellow Cocoon Shell. Another kind of small film that probably is going to be in like a wide release, but still in theaters. I think the week after, something like that, 2 weeks after, we have a movie called The Peasants.
Okay.
And this one I highlighted for you. It's apparently an entirely hand-painted film.
Whoa.
But it's from the makers of Loving Vincent.
Oh,
which
okay.
we covered last year.
Yeah.
Which with Willem Dafoe. And apparently they've been working on this film and painting this film since
Loving Vincent,
which I think was 17.
Yeah, I
2017.
think so. Wow.
It's also, believe it's a Polish story and a Polish film,
That's
which
great.
I'm all about.
Yeah,
I really like Poland. I got a little bit of Polish blood too in me. So I thought that was interesting, and you might like that because that movie might have not hit in all levels, Loving Vincent, but it was so unique of a film.
It's so unique and definitely a team I want to see more of. If that's now going to be their thing, you know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They're working their asses off on it. And then in February, this was the animated film I said was original and a little bit excited for. It's called Orion in the Dark.
Oh, okay.
It's coming out on Netflix. The animation is done by a small French company called Micros Animation. It's produced by DreamWorks, which is why it's how it's getting this kind of Netflix release.
Yeah.
But Micros' other works was actually the new Ninja Turtle movie that you liked, and then Paw Patrol's as well. But most of all, it's an animated original film, and it's written by Charlie Kaufman.
Oh my God! The Kaufman study, the unofficial Kaufman study continues.
It's a random Micros animation coming out on Netflix. I feel like it's going to be brushed on the rug. If Charlie Kaufman is attached writing the product, I mean, you gave Anomalisa an 80.
Yeah, absolutely.
As uncomfortable as that film could have been. Sometimes.
Very uncomfortable, but again, animated and crazy. And so is this going to be a kids movie?
It's kids. It is kids.
Okay.
Orion and the Dark, which is even weirder for Kaufman.
But I like that because Kaufman, unlike so many of heavy style creators or artists or however you want to, he's writing specifically. He's looking like he's always pushing the envelope. This is not like a Wes Anderson or something that he falls into lazier habits or stylistic habits.
Yeah.
So if he's doing a children's film and maybe not making it batshit crazy, I mean, that's fantastic.
And it's called Orion in the Dark. It has to do with like stars and nighttime sky, I think stuff. It could be pretty cool. Also in February, we have Ennio, which is a documentary on Ennio Morricone.
Oh, wow.
And you had talked to me kind of recently, being like, I'm thinking about maybe doing some more musical documentaries.
Yeah.
And that would be a great starting point.
Absolutely.
If you want to make a whatever out of that. One of the most I'm looking forward to, me personally, and I think you as well, it's called The Taste of Things.
Okay.
Have you heard about this one?
No.
Again, I believe it came out in 2022, but it's getting an actual release, and it counts as 2023.
Okay.
The Taste of Things, apparently, it's getting really good reviews and an amazing food movie. And a love story, a romance movie as well.
That's great.
And I think this could be potentially up there with like A Big Night or something.
Right.
Or what is the one that we just talked about?
The Menu?
Yeah, The Menu, exactly.
right.
But The Taste of Things, apparently great food movie.
That's great.
Bob Marley, I'm not excited for at all. And it's being so promoted.
I know. I feel like it's going to be generic at best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a plug and play kind of music biopic. So
Plug and play is exactly right.
Yeah.
Still in February, though, there's a movie called Drive Away Dolls, which is okay. Ethan Cohen's next film.
Yes. Looks interesting. I like that main chick as well. She's been in some stuff.
What is the deal with the Coen brothers? Ethan is really just directing now.
I think they're just kind of doing their own thing. We had a similar split as well. I don't believe one of the brothers was involved in the Macbeth. Yeah, exactly.
Of course, Doom Part... And right away, March 1st, Doom Part 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
This is a way more solid year than last year. It's crazy. I also have one called One Life. And this is Anthony Hopkins stars. It's a World War II movie, kind of, but it's more focused on people and stuff. But basically, Anthony Hopkins, I mean, he's in his 90s. Again, it was a 2022 small film, but being released in 2023.
Okay.
Apparently, the performance is pretty good.
Yep.
And who knows how many more Anthony Hopkins films we're going to get.
True.
Again, this goes along with The Taste of Things and Orion in the Dark. Mikey 17. Coming out in March, starring Robert Pattinson.
Yep.
Our boy.
Yep.
I'll put him in your boy, too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
He's
in
here.
The boys.
Robert Pattinson with Bong Joon-ho directing.
Yeah.
Don't know what it's about. I don't want to read a damn thing.
Right.
I don't want to watch a trailer.
And no less the follow-up to Parasite. I don't think Bong's done anything else since.
I think this is his next one.
Mikey 17.
Mikey 17 in March. I have a note on here. Birthday weekend looking pretty slim as far as the week, so we might...
He's already planning the diva over here.
I have 3 films picked.
Okay.
And I watched 2 of them, and I watched one of them 2.5 times already.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
it's looking a little slim, I'm just saying.
No Battleship Potemkin.
Well, the first Omen is coming out. Right. Yeah. It's history. That was history. Godzilla vs. Kong.
Propaganda film.
Got no interest in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, right.
In May.
That looks so... impossibly tacky. They gave Godzilla like a chain whip axe.
I know, and the CGI looks bad.
Yeah, it looks very cartoony, and maybe that'll be a good thing. They just lean fully into the hand.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of excited for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think this is a sleeper, big franchise blockbuster that's actually not bad, and I've got a soft spot for Andy Serkis.
If I would, I floated the idea, and I still have to plan it out. If I was to do another big 2-part episode, it would be with the Planet of Apes films, because we have the original run and then we have the new run.
I forget the breakdown of the OGs.
Yeah,
the OGs, and Mark Wahlberg is in one.
Right, because there's early 2000s one then. Oh, yeah, that's right. That might be a little bit too much. I mean, we'll see.
Okay,
but I'm with you. I think that is definitely popcorn movie, but kind of also
good.
weighty sci-fi. Talking about Man and
and a film you and I get that is so CGI heavy, but we appreciate it.
Right,
like a CGI that we can actually be like, that's good.
Yeah, if anything, it's an Andy Serkis special for the new one.
Exactly.
He does. He does all the mocap.
Ballerina, are you excited?
No, but
me neither.
I'll do it. I'll watch it.
We'll see if a JW universe expanded. I don't even know. An expanded John Wick universe is going to be good. I don't know.
WickCU.
In June, a movie that got pushed from 2023 to 2004 is The Bike Riders. Which was with Tom Hardy and Austin Butler, the biker gang movie.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's where Tom Hardy has the really weird voice in it.
Oh no, really?
He's talking like this.
Oh no! Oh, like Venom? Like it's Venom New York voice?
No, maybe
Tom Hardy can go 2 ways.
He definitely can. Who knows? Who knows which way he's going to go?
Are we going to get Bane, or are we going to get Venom, Tom Hardy, New York terrible?
Yeah.
But apparently, I'm cool with Austin Butler too.
Sure,
young actor coming up.
Yeah,
all good.
Absolutely.
I do have on here for also the end of June, Horizon and American Saga Part 1. So Kevin Costner absolutely tanked the last season and messed everything up in the last season of Yellowstone, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But apparently he's such a diva, and he's tanking that. He's probably not. He's not.
Well, maybe it's too deep. I was going to say how he tanked it.
He tanked it basically so, everything that's dumb today. Yellowstone's last season was broken up into 2 parts. Finished part 1, part 2 came, and
Walking Dead sin.
Kevin Costner doesn't want to play ball anymore. He's out. He said it's because of scheduling and money or something like that. It's what are you doing?
How do you do that?
But this entire time, he's also been working on what's apparently going to be what's supposed to be a great Western, a 2-part Western.
Okay.
Horizon American Saga Part 1.
That's
he
a tall
also,
order.
I believe his marriage was trashed in all of this too. He's not dating someone else in all of this.
Wow.
That's coming out June 28th. Horizon Part 2 coming out August 16th. In the same year. In the same year.
Wow. It's like a Rebel Moon.
Which is kind of cool, but I don't know. So I think it might be terrible, but we have to see.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Yellowstone. What's my even note here? Kevin Costner, Western, absolutely collapsing the last season of Yellowstone and possibly his marriage, but supposed to be a big-time Western, question mark.
Wow. Well, and to be fair with Yellowstone, I mean, I don't watch the show. I really couldn't give 2 shits, but the second part of that last season hasn't come to a close, right?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay, so, up in the air, I guess. It's not like a Game of Thrones where it's said and done.
Yes, up in the air, not looking good.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have Project Artemis. So the name is not final yet, but it is a comedy with Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, Woody Harrelson, and Ray Romano.
Oh, wow.
Is one of the lead stars in a comedy coming up. Okay? And
folks,
ScarJo, Ray Romano, you kidding me?
Do not hide it from the folks at home. You are into this only for Ray Romano.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally getting the phone calls after his
brief appearance in
Irishman.
That's why you like the Irishman too.
I like it for more than just Ray.
You like the promise of Ray Romano having a dramatic act.
Ray is fantastic in that film. Twisters, I'm looking forward to.
It's a Twister sequel?
So, yeah, the original really is a soft spot in my heart. And this is just called Twisters, and it's a remake of the original, and starring Glenn Powell.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I've never seen the original, so.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean,
we have to watch that this year.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
We pair it up because, I mean, it's Bill Paxton, who's now passed.
Yeah.
But I like Bill Paxton, and a very young Philip Seymour Hoffman is also in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's kind of a killer film.
I don't know why I always mix Twisters and Tremors, and I don't know.
Should not be.
Okay, no,
Tremors is a joke. Twister is a good movie.
Okay.
Or Twister, good movie, or at least it was last time I watched it. God knows, 20 years ago.
God knows.
I have Horizon Part 2 here. Two things. Your thoughts on A Quiet Place Day 1 and Alien Romulus.
What? There's another alien
It
movie?
says Alien Romulus.
Oh, boy.
I know nothing about it.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
I'll be excited. I don't know. I'm like I'm like an abused from the Alien franchise.
I know. You'll still come back for more of them.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll leave that. I'll wait until see a trailer. What was the first one?
Quiet Place Day 1.
Oh, I think my thoughts on Quiet Place have really cemented with Quiet Place Part 2 that it just felt like an episode of TV. So if they're further trying to build like a cinematic
John
universe,
Krasinski not attached too much, from my understanding.
I think that's a pass. I mean, I'll cover it, but
okay.
I don't have high hopes.
Otherwise, we have Beetlejuice 2 coming out in September.
Damn, with
with Keaton.
Wow,
Michael Keaton.
Wow.
So we'll see how that goes. We have the second Joker film, Joker Folie et Deux.
Yeah, apparently it's a musical.
I don't love that.
Yeah, I don't love that
I
either.
love Lady Gaga.
Sure,
as
right,
an actress.
right,
We covered
yeah.
this the other week.
Absolutely.
And Lady Gaga's the main gal in it.
Yeah, and a further.
Well, not main gal. She's playing
Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Yep. Furthering that type of look at Gotham too, a very realistic Gotham.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of Joker, of just how like trashed New York it looked like, like really like almost Taxi Driver. You know what I mean? That's the critique of that film, is that it's copying Taxi Driver. But I can't wait to see just more of that type of Gotham. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And then other thing I have a few other notes getting into November is Alto Nights. So Alto
We're in
Nights.
November already.
Yeah, well, hey, that was a lot of films.
More. I don't know.
I gave you January and February.
Well over half of these.
Okay.
I have no idea.
And don't forget, we have the major film festivals, which is going to release more of this small crap.
Sure,
which it could be very good, but we're not
award hitters.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all going to pop in here as well. But into November, we have Alto Nights, directed by like big director Barry Levinson, who also did. I just put it in the newsletter. Good Morning Vietnam.
Yep.
But Barry Levinson directed Mob Movie starring Robert De Niro.
It's called Mob Movie?
It's called Alto Nights.
Oh.
Alto Nights, Barry Levinson directed Mob Movie with Robert De Niro.
Interesting.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I'll give.
You just gave him the best supporting.
Listen, Bobby doesn't lie. Who knows what Bobby's up to?
Barry Levinson, though.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big-time director.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, later November, then we have Gladiator 2.
No.
But what's his face isn't attached, I think, right?
Ridley Scott?
Is he directing or
No,
not?
I think he is. Yeah.
It's going to be trash.
And he's probably involved in the Alien Romulus.
It's going to be garbage.
Yeah,
right, of course, because a guy...
I did hear something about who... It's not Russell Crowe anymore, though.
Correct. Russell Crowe didn't even get a call.
That's kind of insulting. I mean, granted, he's Chub Crow for a minute now, but
yeah, he needs to get back in the wagon. He needs to have an Oppenheimer moment, like Robert
Cillian Murphy.
No.
Robert De Niro. Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Too many Bobbies.
All right, we'll see with Gladiator 2. I personally don't have high hopes for it.
I feel like Gladiator 2 will be identical to Napoleon and be, maybe acceptable as far as like production
tied for Camp
value.
Mutiny.
Right? Yeah. But
nothing like those quick shoots for a major film.
for a sequel to one of the best films.
And then as far as films go, what I'm excited for, and one of the biggest for the year in December, is December 13th, The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim.
What?
Which
was
an
actual Lord of the Rings movie?
This is the animated one.
Oh.
From like the legendary production company or director or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. Did we talk about this before?
We might have, because it was actually supposed to be a spring release. It now got pushed back to obviously a winter release. Cool. Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. No, it's a huge anime produced. Yeah.
Wow. I guess I'm kind of kicking myself over covering the animated ones prior to this.
Right.
That would have been a perfect episode spot, but that's cool.
And then question for you. Jordan Peele was supposed to come out with a movie this year that probably got pushed to 2025. I'm really curious to see what you're going to like. It's looking like horror is taking a step back for 2024.
Awesome.
I love.
Yeah.
But people
We've got enough.
People are already talking about, which is opening Christmas Day, which I hate, but Nosferatu new movie.
Oh, yes.
And the director is from the guy who made Lighthouse and Witch. You like both those films.
Absolutely.
People
Big
really
fan.
like that director.
Yep.
And apparently he's tackling, and very passionately, Nosferatu.
What Eggers has been able to do with mythology in his movies. You look at The Witch and how it pulls from folklore. You look at Lighthouse and it pulls from sea shanty tales and whatnot. And then probably most of all is the Norse mythology he was able to be pulling from for the Norsemen.
Oh my God, the Northman! That's right. The Norseman.
Let me tell you, I'm very excited to see what he can pull to get a creative Dracula film or a Nosferatu film.
It's quite an IP he's grabbing from.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And to name it Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's great.
It's coming out Christmas Day. But those are the movies I have listed here, some notes and stuff.
That's a serious list.
And other than that, like I said, all the redo animated stuff. I mean, Mufasa is going to be one of the biggest animated films that's original, but not original.
Right. It's the Disney villain IP.
Right.
That they'll continue.
Kung Fu Panda 4. I mean, you know what I mean?
Good 4 spot. Good episode. Kung Fu Panda. Maybe we'll cover Pose making bao buns or whatever.
Those are the films I'm looking forward to. I thought we'd highlight.
That's great.
A better list of 2023. Let's at least say that.
I think you have turned me around on it, because the list that I have are the big ones like Beekeeper and new Ghostbusters, and I'm looking at all the franchise hype.
Yeah. And no interest in those. Yeah, and that's a decent amount there, even in January and February.
Yeah, this is a good segment because you opened my eyes a little bit with it. So.
Okay. All right, Vin. Other than that, this is, like I said, our longest episode. We went through the awards, talked about 2023. Any other closing notes for you, Vin?
Just a heartfelt thank you to everyone at home listening. We have big plans for the coming year. And more importantly, always more movies to watch. So
there's always movies to watch.
Always.
To touch on that too, 2024, folks. 2024, Vin and I want to really be kind of almost, you could see it as the opening year for the daily ratings. Sure, some of the earliest stuff, I think I started taking care of, like our URL just to save, was 2021. 2022 was getting on our feet and trying to record some pre-recorded stuff. Last year, we really kind of went live in March. So 2023 was really the full year we had as far as an actual calendar year of doing this. But 2024, we want to reach more people.
Yep.
We want to get out there more. We want to be finally critiqued, fine-tuned. My New Year's resolution is to actually get all the movies that we basically have onto this site.
Sure.
And I know I've been saying that. I know you've been hearing that for a while. Vin and I kind of changed the way how we do some of the stuff on the back end, especially when you are on this site looking at a movie and you see all the additional credits, the producers and things like that. We changed a lot of that stuff going on just to be able to move forward. I had to go back through hundreds and hundreds, probably 600 films, just to make those corrections. I wanted to do that by the end of the year, and that happened. So this year, I want to focus on getting all those films up. It is going to be a complete list, films that we ever even talked or touched on. There's a lot more that needs to go on that site that Vin has covered for the past 8, 6, 7, I don't even know.
Sure, right.
For the many, many years of doing this. 2024 will be our arrival year, kind of. And we love seeing the numbers tick up slowly. And it is slowly going up, but they are. And we love that so many of you have been along on the ride and growing. It was great to see. We had about 21 different producers this year. We had multiple producers, some stalwarts, some classic producers, which are just absolute friends of the show at this point.
Absolutely.
That we thank so much. We hope so many of you will produce in 2024, especially as we get our name out. Like Vince said, we want to give everyone a huge thank you for letting us keep this going, being interested enough to come back week after week and have more people come with each and every week. if you can, just get the word out there. Every week I say, get us in the conversation. That's where we want to be. This whole value for value thing, the producer model, the V for V model, it's new. It might take people to catch on, or it's a different way of podcasting. So many times you go on a podcast and you're hit in the face with ads, and you just kind of get numb to it. You don't even realize it anymore.
Think about how long this episode would be with ads.
Oh my God, it would be terrible. How many mattresses could we pitch to people?
How many mattresses?
But the idea is we're really trying to do something different. Vin and I want to keep on doing this for years and eventually build a pretty big audience. And we don't want to deal with pitching products we don't give a damn about to you. We don't want to just lie to you just so we get money in our pockets, to go to advertising companies and say, look how many downloads we have. We're building a bit of a community here, a family here, and that's the point of value for value, of becoming a producer. If you're getting value from what we're doing here, from the podcast every week, are you enjoying it? Are you into movies? We're just making you laugh. It's fun to hang out for an hour with us every week, or in this case, 3 hours. Basically, that's value in your pocket. We ask you to give us value back in our pocket. You go to thedailyratings.com and head to the donations tab. And through your monetary support, you show us what value you're getting. And you also become a legit producer of the Daily Ratings. Just like in Hollywood, when you financially produce to something, you are a producer of that thing. If you want to be a producer of the Daily Ratings, like I said, it's at dailyratings.com. Head to the donations tab. We love and thank all of you who have been listening, who have been joining this year, and most importantly, producing. There's been some great producers this year. We thank you so much. We are so excited for 2024. We have great things coming. We have some more compilations on the site. We have some different ideas. We're going to be rolling out some different specials this year also that we haven't done before that we're super excited about. We think that you guys are going to like too, based on some feedback we've got, and some other goodies. We have talked about in the past, brought up by a producer, by the way. Vin and I are going to start implementing different tags on movies. We're going to have a So Bad It's Good tag, and we are going to have a Tommy Two Shoes tag, so you know what's going on. If you're on a film and say, what the hell is that? Oh, it got a Tommy Two Shoes. What did it get? It'll be there. And that's being a producer. So I'll just shout out Matt D. He supported us on an episode. He supported us on many episodes. But on one note that he wrote into us on a donation is that we should have some type of symbol, some type of tag, some type of recognition.
Absolutely.
When a movie gets a designation from Vim that, it's so bad, it's good. It's a bad score,
delicious garbage,
but maybe watch it. And then, of course, we have My Tommy Two Shoes and the ever-changing scale that everyone seems to be confused about. But when I feel the need to give a movie a score, I give it my own two-shoe score. Matt D was a producer. He suggested we add some type of tag, and we're doing that. And that'll be rolling out here in 2024. All these small changes, but we're building, we're growing, and we thank you all so much for going with us. Other than that, Vin, I think we're going to see you next week with a new batch of films, correct?
Yes.
And so we start 2024.
Yeah, it's all starting over. The torment never ends.
But luckily this year is looking better than the last. Nothing like starting a movie podcast post-COVID.
Right.
Vin, I'll just take a quick 30 seconds here to thank you. Listening to your reviews this year, like I said, I listened to at least every episode 3 times.
Right.
Your reviews have always been good, even back in the couch days when the mics weren't turned on. Were always good, always informative, and very poignant reviews. This year, you honed in on something special. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of research just to get an idea also of other reviewers, other so-called critics. I really appreciate your voice when it comes to all of these films, for the films of what we watch, and I'm excited to build this with you. I think you're a real talent. I'm excited to be on this side of the table.
Yeah.
I really appreciate these reviews you put together and creating the daily ratings here.
I appreciate it, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, folks. With that, hey, listen, we're going to be back. And don't forget to tune in next week. We will be back just as normal for another 250 films, potentially. Another 90 brand new 2024 films. Folks, we love you. We thank you so much. And we'll see you next week on the Daily Ratings Podcast.